TLSG here, back again with another daily Marvel Snap live stream. So today I'm excited to be running the deck that we're running. It's a deck that I started really enjoying just before the Quinjet nerf came down. And originally Quinjet was in this list so that you could really flood on the last turn of the game. And then Quinjet's ability got adjusted and it just wasn't quite the same. And so I thought it was dead, but I tested it out today and it has been doing phenomenally. I jumped from, I think, 111 to 113 pretty quickly. And it's just been working incredibly well, almost as it was before. You just switched out the Quinjet for a Maximus, which is a little bit more clunky than it was before, but it usually isn't too big of an impact. And then Astrid, Dan, Nick Neutron, welcome in. Hopefully you guys had a fantastic weekend. And I'm glad that you were able to jump in and join us. So the middle location being the Isle of Silence. We don't have anything that is negatively impacted by it. They play a Bucky Barnes, so it looks more like a Death Wave or a Destroyer deck list. They're almost at their card cap, so I think I'm going to just go ahead and risk playing Maximus early. Normally we like to hold it for a little bit longer, but with them playing one card, it brought them down to... They only drew one additional card than what they would have otherwise. And then Austin, welcome in. Hopefully you're having a fantastic day so far. And then Astrid, you're gifting one tier 1 sub very early on. Ooh, let me switch over to the right scene. Thank you so much for the gifted sub, Astrid. The support that brings us up to a total of 1 for the day. And so the support is absolutely starting off on the right foot. I appreciate you guys for being here, and hopefully everything has been going well. Kino, welcome in. Thank you for saving me from this boredom of the workday. No problem. I've been wanting to go live for a while. I'm still covering for my team member who's out for a couple of days. And so it's been call after call after call, and I've just been wishing and hoping that I was able to go live instead. And then Dad, welcome in. Marth, welcome in as well. And then Nico in the stream. Hopefully you're having a fantastic day. So with the wave, with the Nova, I think we're okay. I think it's a death wave, but they used it to turn early, so we're just going to float here. We're not necessarily going to get the value in our Sunspot, but we will be able to do 2 She-Hulks. We can do the Sunspot still. We do get the early retreat. How's it going? It's going well now. I've had a Monday for sure. So I counted them before I was able to launch the stream and actually get the stuff that I needed to get done. I had 15 calls that I was on today. My normal average is about 3 a day because it's really end user stuff. It's really rare when somebody needs to call. I was on 15. And then I took a second, went and got a drink, and I'm guessing an ice cube got left on the ground. I slipped, almost fell, I spilled the drink. It's been a Monday. It hasn't been a great start to the week, but we're holding through. We're holding up hope. We're staying positive. And then Cruel Master, thank you so much for the resub at tier 1. 2 months of TLSG streams. Here's to many more. Thank you so much, Cruel Master. Yeah. We have to turn around the day because it's been a Monday. We've got a case of the Mondays. We're still good in spirits. Who is this young man without the beard? I don't know. And then Okay Dad, thank you so much for resubbing as a Prime sub for the 3rd month. Huge support coming through. So Maria Hill gives us Hood, so we get a second Hood to use. But this is Undead King again, which they used Wave last time around. I lost my first badge. No, it should be able to give it. It should be able to. I think it will give it back once everything starts, or once everything catches back up. I think you'll get it back. I kind of want to play Maximus, but at the same time, I kind of want to hold it and use it a little bit more strategically. I've been stuck at 86, 87 in Snap. I've been running a Zongoing. So, is that like a Wong Zabu ongoing. Is that right, Dante? So they have the Bucky Barnes. The Raptors come down. I wish we had Sunspot, but otherwise we're sitting pretty decently. I think do we even play the She-Hulk early? I don't necessarily need to. I'm gonna play the Maximus early. We'll be greedy and we'll hold the She-Hulk. Yeah, no, I'm okay though. I didn't fall. It's not the worst luck I've had, but it was just it was jarring. Because I was in a hurry. I was trying to get back because the phone was ringing again, and so then I decided I needed to slow it down. And then it's been welcome in. You hit your first infinite. You used a Negasonic list with Daredevil. Huge. Huge it's been. I tried a couple with that, and I just wasn't able to make any of them like really pop. So do we go ahead and... We know that they have Wave. I think we go ahead and play... Well, if they have Wave, if this is a Death Wave, they definitely have a Killmonger. So we're going to hold it. If they use Wave, it might not be in our best interest, but I think we hold it. Oh, so yeah, no Diablo 4. So I did play Diablo 4. They do use Wave. I played Diablo 4... And I got to level 20, whatever you needed to get to reach the reward, like the early reward. After the storyline, I thought the questing was really good, the main quest line, but from there it kind of lost me because then you're grinding just to grind. So do we think they hit this with an Arnim Zola, the Venom? We can do She-Hulk just in case they don't. And then we do Shang-Chi and Arrow. Shangum. Yeah, since we don't have initiative, I think we're gonna play it mid. I played it a lot more than I expected. Yeah, so I had been playing Diablo 3 just because I saw during the closed beta, I was like, man, I don't want to pre-order, but I do have an itch to play Diablo. So I've been playing... I had been playing Diablo 3. Yeah, and I think there's a lot of things that it took from Diablo 3 and just made them better and more refined. And so I think for the full game, it'll be fun. Okay, so the Arnim Zola does come down. So we have Shang-Chi in mid. We should be able to outpower the right lane as well. And then General Sergeant, hey, you shaved. We'll have to come up with another TLSG acronym for that. Yeah, we definitely will. Oh, wait. Oh, no, the Shang-Chi. Oh, no. We just made that null massive. Oh, no. Well, they got their cube back. Possible Diablo 4 streams in the future? Yeah, maybe. So I was looking at it, and the real release date, or the release date that they have, is set to be in June. That's the same time that Conquest is scheduled to launch in Snap. So I don't know if they come out like at the same time. I'm probably going to focus on Conquest, and then welcome in Empire of Light. Hopefully you're having a great day so far. So if they both come out at the same time, I think I focus on Conquest. If not, then I think we do some Diablo 4 streams. If it's something that you guys want to see. If not, then I'll just do it offline. How is Zola and Null played on the same turn? So they did a wave, and I think it was Elysium was in effect. So all of their cards cost 3, so they were able to do both. Yeah, that was a beautiful hand. I'm glad we didn't get greedy and snap back into it. But yeah, they absolutely obliterated us. Lord Bruh claiming in the snap early, and then thank you guys for the incredible early support from all the resubs. For whatever reason, those don't count in like the bot that kind of counters up all of them, but they're still very much appreciated, and so they're more important to me than I think the bot realizes. Speaking of Null, was gonna get Shuri, but if she's dropping to 3, I'm gonna get Null instead. So she's been in 4 for a couple of months now, so I would say she would downgrade before Null does. I haven't got as much use out of Null. Null is one of those cards that it's kind of like Wong. When it works and when you see the highlights, you're like, whoa, this is a killer card. But the amount of times that it works is not like, I don't know that it outweighs it. And so it really depends on if you enjoy that kind of like high roll style gameplay. It's like a win more card a lot of times. Babyface TLSG is back. We shaved. I couldn't take it anymore. I had to shave. We had to get rid of it. That's the second game in a row that Maria Hill generated the hood for us. Oh, P.S. I don't have Red Skull. I think Shuri's... Oh, yeah. Without Red Skull is one of the big enablers. Like, you can run it without it, but it loses some of that potency. And because it's such a like negative connotation of a card, I could see you not wanting to run it. Yo, TLSG, you gotta try Black Panther Null Mr. Negative. Yeah, so I tried a deck similar to that. Now that Mr. Negative works, and like it, whenever you hit that high roll or you get a couple of them inverted, it's incredibly fun to play. I didn't have a lot of consistent luck with it, but it was when it hits really, really hard. We're gonna Moon Girl. We're gonna double down on Demon She-Hulk. We won't have the Sunspot on the board to soak, I don't think. So if we play one Sunspot, she goes down to 2, so it's 2, 4, 5, 6, and then it's an extra 4. So we're getting 5 power on the board from this one. If not, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we have what, a Sentinel. And so I think even though it costs just a little bit more, the Sunspot soaking here will be a better play than not playing it and having cheaper She-Hulks. Unless Magic comes down, then that might be fine too. Today I saw a Thanos deck that adopted the Destroy package, Bucky Barnes Carnage. So I've seen some floating around that uses like a Death Wave. It uses like a Death Wave package, and sometimes those can be pretty strong. You can get bricked on your hands sometimes, depending on how you draw it though. But overall, I think it's a pretty good adaptation. So I think now we are in a position where we can just Sunspot to the left, we soak, and then we can just flood. Unless they change Limbo, and then we'll be really sad. Does this deck have it in it to get me to Infinite from 88? I think so. I don't... Let me see. Let me see if I have my exact stats. Not all of them are logged because I do a lot of my testing on my phone, but what I've played on the computer, I'm at an 8... We won 8 games, we lost 4. And one of those was the one you just saw a second ago with the Null. And so we have a 66.7% win rate out of 12 games, but those are just the ones I played on the computer. So I think, I mean, a couple of those were Galactus, a couple were Shuri, and so I think it does have a lot of merit to it. Wait, what did they discard? All the stuff that Hela is going to resummon. Oof. Can we overpower a Hela resummon? I don't know. So if we don't play this, we get 4 energy, or 4 power. If we play it, we get 5. Or actually, we get 6. We get 6 if we don't play it. If we do, then we get a total of 5. So it's a little lower here, but it spreads out more total power. Do you have decks ready for the new card tomorrow? Yeah, I have a couple of shells that I think it's going to be really good in. So I think just a general bounce deck has a lot of strength to it. And then you might even be able to put it into some kind of like zoo shell like this and just augment it a little bit so that you can maybe Moon Girl the Kitty Pryde after you've already buffed it up a little bit, and then use that in unison with your flood on the last turn. But I think the most common one and the easiest one to try out is going to be the bounce. That way you can potentially get a 0-cost Kitty Pryde. But I am excited for it tomorrow. I'm going to try my best not to look at the shop. Speaking of the shop, I only have 1,000 tokens. We need to spend some of our credits. We'll do that at some point in the stream. I have 8,000 credits to spend, and so we'll upgrade a couple of the cards that maybe fit into a bounce deck that I haven't really showed much love to. So like the Beast, the Falcon. See what else we can make happen. You think she'll be worth the buy? Tentatively, I do. I think Bounce is already really, really decently strong. It has a lot of disruption. So if you have the Hawk version, I think right now that has something like a 54-55% win rate in like the higher tiers. And if you add Kitty Pryde, that kind of adds to everything that Bounce list wants to do already, and kind of expands on it. So it gives you another medium to have some really high power output. And then Jive, I think it's card Kitty Pryde. And so I think she's going to be worth it. But with any other card, unless you're a whale or a content creator, I'd say wait a day or two just to see how it actually functions and how it does in practice. Because I also thought Kang was going to be really strong, and he turned out to not be. I heard that she only gained power only when you pull her directly to your hand. Yeah, no, so the beast won't work, but what it does do, I would assume, Alia, the beast wouldn't work when it pulls it back in your hand, but it makes her 0 cost. So then at that point, you're getting that replay and that pullback manually for free every turn. And so that one turn you're sacrificing the +2, but from then on it's free, and so you're just powering up the card at that point. Someone redeemed channel points to have TLSG shave his beard. Yeah. No, it was getting really long. It was getting to the point where it was I don't know. It gets to a certain level where it just, I feel like I need to shave it. And then Jordan, thank you so much for the resub. Welcome back for the 2 months, for the 2-month streak at tier 1. I appreciate it. Hopefully you're having a fantastic day. Hopefully you had a great weekend and your Monday has started off well. So we have She-Hulk and Chavez on the board already. We would only copy these 2 cards, so I don't think we need to. They haven't played anything. Why have they not played anything? I don't remember what they were running. I don't think it had a Killmonger though. How's life? Life has its ups and downs. We can't complain too much though. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. The Electro rotation, that better not be... Okay. I was going to say it better not be Galactus that they rotate into. So this was the Hela. This was the MODOK that they wanted to resummon with Hela. That's right. Hey, TLSG, I like your YouTube videos. Thank you so much. Nye? Or Xavier. Maybe I just call you Xavier, the tail end of it. Thank you. I'm so glad that you found the stream and that you enjoyed the content. Because I'm a fairly new content creator, so hearing things like that means a lot. Wait, Scott, you said no? No? Don't Shang-Chi? Save it? Oh, where's your bill? Okay. My beard is in the trash can. We went back maybe 10 years. We got younger overnight. Where's the Gandalf beard, old man? It's gone. It's gone. We haven't released a video with it gone, so you can expect the comments to be all about the beard on my next video whenever I publish that one. I feel like we are kids who've never seen their dad without a beard. I go through some pretty wild transitions or rotations. So it's kind of jarring. If he's old, I'm old. That cannot be. Well, I guess if it's a Gandalf beard, maybe that's that live shaved guy. If I had done it on live, then that would be what TLSG stood for a while. So they extend the game with magic. They still have Hela. They can. I'm thinking they might have us here just with how well everything they have can do. We will get Shang-Chi back in our hand potentially. I think we just play a couple of Sentinels and Soak. We don't want to flip into Shang-Chi, Hood, or Maria Hill at this point. Live shaving might be a new Twitch category. Yeah, I know. Get some traction where we weren't expecting it. How many channel points to grow it back? I mean, so I go through wild transition. So I'll go 3 weeks where I'm just really 3 weeks, maybe a month where I just don't shave it. Ooh, they discarded their Hela. Interesting. Where I just don't shave it. And then it starts bothering me at some point, and I shave it after that. We get another win against Demian running the Hela list. I don't know if they meant to discard their Hela or if they just didn't think they had enough oomph after discarding it, but we'll take the 2 cubes where we can. I've seen so much Sarah recently that Magic feels like a bigger risk than usual. Yeah, and especially with some remnants of Thanos still running around, a lot of locational change and control, it does feel like it might be a liability. Anything you want me to say to our study chairs in my meeting right now? Oh. You guys sponsoring? We're always looking for sponsors. If we get enough, we'll go full time. But general, no, I don't have anything in particular to say. Hopefully the meeting goes well. Lord Bro, you said today I finally got my first inked. It is the basic Sunspot. After 11, it took 11 splits. It took me quite a few to get it gold. I still haven't got a black and white Sunspot, I don't think. Real question, what's your favorite variant though? So that's actually a question that started popping up a little bit more frequently recently. I don't know if it's more so the variant other than, or if it's like the split itself. But I have a Jubilee one that I think looks really, really solid with everything, like with the particle effect that it has, with the border, with the background. It just all works together. And so I can pull it up after this. I feel like I show it off all the time. I wish I ran Jubilee more often, but I just can't justify putting her into most lists. Nice shave. I got a beard shave today too, along with a haircut. Ooh, yeah, I probably need a haircut again sometime soon, but we have to do it in waves. We have to shave, let people adjust to it, and then we'll haircut after that. No, that fluffy beard, yeah, it's gone. It's all gone. We're 10 years younger now. I have Bass pinned. How good is she gonna be with Kitty Pryde? I think very strong, Noel. So Bast, I think the best shell for Kitty Pryde is probably going to be a bounce deck, since it kind of leans into what you want to do anyways. So if you happen to hit it with Beast, you can then play it for free every turn and pull it back in, therefore buffing an Angela, a Bishop, and then just buffing itself as well. And so I think Bast will be really good in that shell, which is, I feel like is going to be the primary shell for both of those cards. And then I try, welcome in. Can you talk my husband into shaving his beard? Drives me nuts. Astrid, we can try. No promises, but we can try. It just, for me, it gets to a point where it just starts kind of bothering me a little bit. And so then I decide it's time to shave and just let it grow back out from there. I think we're just going to... We have the She-Hulk. I think we might just skip here. They probably lock us down with like a Professor X. When you shave, I will. I mean, if we can make that deal, we can make it happen. Yeah, Bass is also going to be good with Hitmonkey. And I think Hitmonkey just feeds into like the bounce archetype incredibly well as well. If you bounce a couple of cards, if you have Mysterio, you can flood that plus Hitmonkey. And if you hit any other cards, you're going to have a lot of big power output potential. And so it's going to, I think, become much more consistent as a result as well. So they just used Storm. I don't know that we really commit to that lane, though. Because they have the Captain Marvel that can move around. We won't be able to hit either of these with the Shang-Chi. So 7 and 6 is going to be 13, brings us up to 19. So we beat what they currently have here. Was the hard math I was trying to do. I think we do this. And then depending on where they play. So they do play... Ooh, the Doctor Doom might be more than what we can overcome. Yeah, we lose the right lane by 1. Even if not, the Captain Marvel can move. CEO Alex just said, I'm getting demoted for being late to stream. Well, I mean, it's a pretty serious offense, Zero. Zero, welcome in. Hopefully you're having a great day so far. Astrid said he doesn't care. I We tried. We tried, Astrid. We tried. I mean, if he's really put in time where it's like really long, I could see some attachment to it. For me, mine grows really fast, so it's like 3 weeks to a month, and it'll be back to where it was. And so it's not like it's been 3 years that I spent growing it. And then Daft, thanks so much for the follow. And then Xavier, thank you as well for the follow. J6, happy Monday. Hopefully you're having a great day so far. Anyone know a good destroyer deck? So are you wanting like a direct destroyer list? What can replace Maria? You could do an armor if you want to try to protect your Sunspot, but that does kind of clash with Shang-Chi. A previous version that I ran did have a Cosmo to try to act as another counter tool. And so either that or just a really strong power output 2 cost. I would try to keep it either low or some kind of tech heavy card. That way, if you need to get it out of your hand to give your Moon Girl better targets, you can. But I think the original version ran armor, but it didn't run Shang-Chi, so I think I would shy away from armor, just for that alone. Is Orca useless right now? Orca's tough. Orca's very tough to use. So I think the only... Yeah, it doesn't make its way into anything that it's in is typically an off-meta deck. Like I want it to be better, but it's very situational. So it's hard to rely on 14 power to like swing and win you a game, especially when cards like Debris, Goblins, Locations that generate like monsters or raptors or negative ninjas that could potentially interrupt being able to play your Orca. Stupid question, but what's a bounce deck? It's not a dumb question. If you haven't seen it before, then it's not a dumb question at all. So a bounce deck is one that runs typically a beast and a falcon and a lot of really low cheap cards to be able to buff up cards like your not your collector. It used to run collector. Your cards like Angela and Bishop. I have one build that another content creator, Jeff, has been running pretty frequently for the last couple of almost a month now. That already runs really solid. I think Kitty Pryde is just going to be a really good slot, just kind of an auto add in that one to make it even better. But I'll show you the list right after this game. Arya the Destroyer deck, snaps are posted in the main. Yeah, I did see the Destroyer one. I did see the Destroyer one. It didn't seem like it had just incredible rates overall, but I think it has the potential to swing some of those games and win. And so actually, hold on. Sorry, guys. I got added to a phone tree at work, and I'm responsible to answer everything on like the third ring. And so we're going against Jeff. And I was halfway like on autopilot playing this one. So let's see if maybe we can salvage it. Maybe we do our sunspot into the vault so that if we do end up floating and soaking, we have some decent push over there. Why, if it isn't the lonely sniper guy, we are back. It's the lightly shaved guy as well. But we're back live. My wife and I, same, just heard the phone tree and said, yeah, oh yeah, and said that sucks. Yeah, yep, I know, because the phone tree is just so sporadic that it's not direct calls. So they don't. The person that directs them doesn't always know where they need to go. It's not a night. Are you streaming while at work? No, you games. No. Yes, we are. So my job, most of what I can do, I can prioritize my tasks. Most of them are like reoccurring. And so I start like 2 hours before I'm actually supposed to start work. And then I just kind of push everything together. And I do those early so that, throughout the day, they can just be on auto send. Those ad hoc requests, I still have to address whenever they come through, unfortunately. So he did get the Moon Girl, the Zabu, the Polaris. Doesn't look great for us. If he skipped and floated, he could have the She-Hulk that we were hoping to get with our Moon Girl, but we didn't actually hit it. If he plays more than one card to the right, that's also a little bit rough. And if we do the arrow, we have to win Baxter Building or float next turn to be able to maintain. Sorry, I'm from Italy. What does phone tree mean? So a phone tree is like 3 or so connected lines, or however many are in the tree. But it's connected phones that whenever a call comes through to like a particular number or is routed to a particular number, it rings to all of those people in that tree. And then you have to divvy up and be responsible for answering the line. And so it's usually not it's usually not the type of requests that come through my queue. Mine are usually more tech heavy. These are just like, I forgot my password, I can't log in, and like easier stuff, but it takes a long time. It takes a lot more patience. And then Jordan, I'm not sure why the deck didn't work. I'll restart the tracker, see if maybe that picks it up. Hi guys, did I miss much? No, we're 30 minutes in. The deck has been doing well. You missed about 5 minutes where I was on a phone call, but outside of that, no, we've been doing well. So I think we lose this one. I thought you were a data analyst. Yep, I am a data analyst. And so I got added to the phone tree, not necessarily. Oh, he does float just enough to swing it back in his favor. Oof, that was close. No, I'm a data analyst. Most of what I do is creating those queries, creating the data reports. But I got added into the phone tree. I don't know why I didn't have a heads up. It was just there. And so Jeff does, yeah, the Shang-Chi was close. The soak with the sunspot was just a little bit better. And so I restarted the deck tracker. Let's see if the bot works now. Yeah, it works now. I don't know why sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't, but whenever it doesn't, I just restart and then it's there. Very well played by you though. It was, I'm not sure on the positioning of the early cards. I think that may have been where the downfall came from. You're also clearly other people's problem guy. Yeah. Yep, that's what it has amounted to, because I have a good I have a decent customer service background. I have a very de-escalating persona, so I have good soft skills, and so I'm the problem guy. Wasn't there a Quinjet? There used to be. So with Quinjet changing where she doesn't reduce anything below 1, The only thing it's really gonna help is like the Sentinel and the Maximus. So we ended up cutting it for, oh, I guess it was just the Sentinel and Maria Hill in the original version if it got doubled. We ended up taking out the Quinjet for Maximus. And the deck still runs pretty well. I thought it was going to be awful, but it still has been able to hold its own. My tracker hasn't been working all day. I've been trying to make a new overlay, and it's really irritating. P1. So do you use the untapped one, or do you use? Before that I used Snap.fan, and I didn't have. Every once in a while, like if I switched accounts, it would just hit a snag, and it was really tough to come back. Untapped, I think it's just a PC client right now. And then Foolish, she said, you want to offer a promotion to the channel, viewers, followers? Well, there's a business inquiry one. If that's, oh wait, oh no, I didn't mean to pin that one, guys. Ignore that one. I'm gonna delete that one. Okay. There's a business inquiry one. If you wanna reach out through email, you can use it there. I have to restart untapped every so often. Yeah, and I don't know what triggers it, like why you have to do it. And then Brock, right after this one, I'll let you choose the avatar. And then Junior, I don't know how to read that one. GU, thank you so much for the follow. Moon Girl doesn't necessarily help us pull anything. We do have Arrow because I think they're going to try for maybe a Galactus here. So I think we push to try to make sure we win Asgard. And then somebody said, what is your graphics card? Is that right? I was a grumpy AF report creator for my HR group. Yeah, I need to maybe like personify that. That way I don't get asked for everything. Oh, Nandrew, you said, I guess, in Andrew? No, that's not even. I think I butchered your name. I'm sorry, Nan. My graphics card, I have a couple, so for like a couple of months I mined Ethereum whenever it was at its peak. And so I have in this one I have it's actually I don't remember which one this one has. I have a 3080 and then I have a one, not the Nvidia one, but it's one of the higher end ones from the other side. So I think I'll check. I don't want to tell you wrong. They're going to see what we play this turn. I think we're going to do that and float. You have a 4090 with your bonus the last year to treat yourself. That is used to play Football Manager and Marvel Snap. I mean, it's probably going to run those incredibly well. How many days until you can Galactus time? Oh, they do have Electro, right? Oof. Okay. I forgot they had Electro. Otherwise, I would have used Arrow with the Daredevil read coming in. Let me see how many days I have until I can change the name again. I think it's a little bit over a week, so I'm gonna guess like 12 days. No, it's a little bit over. Yeah, so 9 days. 9 days, and we can change it again. 1 week and 2 days, and then the channel point redemption reward will be back. The only pattern I've noticed is that it happens around reset time, but not 100%. And for me, I think it's whenever I accidentally leave it on too long. So I left Marvel Snap loaded last night when I fell asleep. I've closed it since then, but I haven't restarted Untapped since then. TLSG, were you playing an account called TLSH last night? I wasn't. My other one is Sulky Hulky, my alternate account, and then this one. I got Valk yesterday, and she's been so amazing. I do not regret the token spin on her. See, so some people just really enjoy Valkyrie. I think Valkyrie is a good like surprise finisher card that can steal you a lot of games. Some games. I think it usually swings bigger cube games, but just not as consistently. Oh, Joe is cool. Very good game earlier. I'm glad that you found the stream. Very, very good game earlier. So we can do Maria Hill. We got death. So if they're running a destruction version, we get we get death value. I'm Valkyrie Enjoyer. Valkyrie just hasn't clicked for me. I think. Where'd you get that? The Maria Hill? I got it from the collection track, and so I didn't actually have to buy this one. Ooh, and Brock, I apologize. I'll let you choose my avatar right after this. Do you have one in mind? I was worried I hit the nicest guy in Snap with the toxic emote. And then Sicilian Force, thank you so much for the Prime sub as well. Very much appreciated. Oh, Brock, you said you clicked the wrong button? What did you mean instead? Yeah, I like the Maria Hill variant. I like the burger one a little bit better, but I don't use it enough to buy it. Valkyrie and Sentry have been super amazing. Viper, Mojo, yeah. So almost like a. I like Sentry in it. Like that's the only deck that I like Sentry in is one that runs Valkyrie. I think it enables being able to do that. Thanos move interesting? Thanos move could be interesting, yeah. And I think it was pretty decent before. Maybe not so much. I think it's still probably fine, but I just don't think it's as consistent as it was before. I like the clean shaven face too. Thank you for the YouTube content. No problem. I'm glad that you enjoyed the content. At the end of the day, that's what I make it for. And so, as a newer creator, I'm really glad that you're enjoying what I'm creating. And I was well overdue for a shave. Well overdue for a shave. So the Polaris caps out our middle location. We do soak, but we're still behind in that lane. I think we might have to float again. We float again, we'll have She-Hulk, Double Demon, potentially Shang-Chi if we need it. Yeah, he got a Human Torch from the hub. It wasn't built in. Yeah, the Polaris was a good move, forcing us to be capped out. Luckily, we had Sunspot that can still grow over time. How's the deck been doing? It's been doing decently. I started off the stream, we were about 70% win rate with it, and we dropped down a touch. We're at 63% win rate, but a couple of those were my mistakes, just not playing efficiently. Ooh, that is going to be a huge follow-up with Shuri. Our only upside is that they can't do that. They can't do, like, I guess they could do a Titanium and a Taskmaster this turn. Something really, really random like that. Can we overpower that, though? How much do we think they push into the middle location? We would have to either do 2 to the side, 1 to the right, or we could stack them all, and we soak 3 more in mid, so they would need to play at least 5 there. $50-50 with Shang-Chi. Oh, that's true. They do have Shang-Chi in the deck, but if they use Shang-Chi as a follow-up to Shuri, that seems risky too. I think we're going to do it this way. We'll do Double Demon to the left, She-Hulk to the right. I think they spread. Captain Marvel is huge. The 24 power Captain Marvel. It doesn't overcome us after we soak in mid. So Captain Marvel can stay there. She can move to the left. But if she moves, we win the right lane. If she doesn't, we win left. I'm glad we ended up splitting. We would have lost had we not. Yeah, Valkyrie does go crazy in a Cerebro 3. I haven't, and then Cheese, welcome in. I haven't ran much Cerebro 3. I probably need to a little bit more. It just feels like that's Dexter's thing. Like Dexter is the Cerebro 3 lover. And I just haven't done much of it since, like Cerebro 2 seems a little bit more consistent. Cerebro 3 seems like it can hit higher high rolls, but maybe at the cost of a little bit of that consistency. The next series drop is going to be great. April has Bash, Shuri, Super Scroll, and Valk going to 3. Have they announced that? or is that just off of like how long they've been in Series 4? Did you guys know Dad is cool? Every once in a while, Dad is pretty cool. If they're a true Thanos enjoyer, they'll make the worst play possible. Sometimes. Sometimes they do. I literally groaned. That was scary. Yeah, that one would have went either way very easily. And then Central, you said, hi TLC, is there any Mr. Negative decks you think are viable? I love the archetype, but it feels inconsistent. So, like I played a Negative Serotonin that did decently, but it really didn't hold its own against everything out there. You had to get a pretty good high roll to really enable it. Outside of that, in terms of consistency, I haven't just been blown away. Like, Negative is one of those that I want to be able to play again. But it seems like it's one of those, like, doesn't win all that often, but when it does, you have to capitalize. I think most of the negatives these days run Bast. There's a couple that run like Arnim Zola, clearly be able to flood the board. Let's see what else there is out there. I think we don't have a good sample size. I'm looking through some of the stats on some of the ones that I've tried. I tried one that had a Gambit and a Wong to like really lean in on that. It was a Silver Surfer negative. It did okay, but I think it really hurts whenever you don't get that ideal play line. I wonder if we forced them into having a rock there. Maybe we try. Ooh, it's either we forced them into having a rock or we have a rock. Oh no, it capped us out. We gambled and we lost. I know Quinjet got nerfed in this deck, but do you think it still has some purpose? Not necessarily. With Quinjet, the only thing it really helps with is like Shang-Chi, Moon Girl, or Shang-Chi, potentially an arrow if it gets hit. And then the Sentinel. And so it loses really most of that value that you're wanting from it in the list. So I think next turn we use Arrow. Because, ooh, wait, they cap out mid? Oh, with a Sunspot. Okay. So they don't end up using Shuri. This runs Zabu as well. So maybe it's not a standard Shuri. Ooh, maybe it's a greedier Shuri deck that runs Wong and Shuri. I think we probably should have left this. Oh wait. Oh yeah, never mind. You said you clicked the wrong one. Did you want something other than the card back? I want to make sure that you get your points worth. Thoughts on Patriot right now? I think Patriot's in a pretty good spot. Patriot is one of those that's pretty decently consistent a lot of the time. And so you can usually get I think probably around I would expect like a 54 or more % win rate. So even if we take out this left lane, they have the Red Skull that they can play. I guess this is like a use case for this is a use case for the Quinjet. We would be able to do double Shang-Chi if we had Quinjet on the board. I think it's very rare, but it might still have some value. I don't know that it's worthwhile, but... And if you don't draw Mr. Negative. Yeah, so I think the only way to build Mr. Negative that kind of goes around that is like that really mid-range, like a Serotonin, like a negative Serotonin.
Hey, welcome. It took you long
still
enough.
Gets value. Sintaga, thank you so much for the Prime sub. That brings us up to 3 new Prime subs for the day. We do have our resubs, so I need to figure out if we can get those counted as well. But I appreciate you being here. Hopefully you're having a fantastic day. And then I feel like the negative Serotonin right now just doesn't have enough. Its mid-roll I don't think is enough to compete. If you hit the high roll, you can still do a lot of good things. But I think in general, unless you get like lucky with an inverted Iron Man or Mystique, you have a hard time keeping up. So Quinjet's discount on She-Hulk happens after She-Hulk effect. Actually... Tail, I haven't tested it. I think it is after. I mean, that's a good thing that maybe we need to test. Because I could see it reducing it to 5 and then you skip, and so then it goes down to 0. So Quinjet's not technically the one reducing it. But I think in the past I've tried things with Sarah and Quinjet to see if 2 costs would go 0, and they won't, because both of them say can't go below, but not necessarily with a card reduction built into the card itself. What's your favorite Saturday morning cartoon? Growing up, I woke up. I don't have one. I don't have one now, but growing up, I woke up every Saturday for Pokemon and for Yu-Gi-Oh. I was so excited about both of those, and watching the new ones when they came out. I was probably most committed to Yu-Gi-Oh because that's around the time I was playing the game. But like I would look forward to it every single week. The Indigo League. Yep. That's around where it was. I got up early and hyped for Beast Wars when they were making new episodes. I actually never saw Beast Wars the Moy. We don't have a great play here. They don't have very many resources, but I think we just... Oh, and by the way, I love your content. Thank you, Tail. I'm glad that you enjoy it. I say this quite a bit, but as a new content creator, it means a whole lot that you guys are enjoying the stuff that I make. Beast Wars was the best. I like the offshoot Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle shows. Street Sharks and Mummies Alive were a couple. I caught some of those, but for whatever reason, they didn't draw me as much. Like, I didn't mind watching them, but I didn't like consistently wake up specifically for them either. Yeah, but the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is always a classic. If I'm not mistaken, Quinjet reduction is first, and then She-Hulk's takes effects because Quinjet happened on board. I mean, it seems like it should. It seems like it should still be able to be 0, and so maybe we test it, especially with the Sentinel, and maybe even with the Sentinel. I might take out Maria Hill. I'll take out Maria Hill and still plug in Quinjet and see how it does. And then Braden, welcome in. And then Josie, you said, hey, hey Justin, do you think the card acquisition system should be improved? I do. I think right now it's really hard to, depending on what the direction of the game and what they want it to go in, it's really hard to lean in on like competitive side if not everybody has like the same kind of access. You can't even build necessarily any of the good in-game decks. You can compete, but if you're looking to be like really, really competitive, like some of those extra cards, I feel like are necessary. So I don't know. I feel like it does, just being maybe the cost to acquire, or maybe just natural acquisition being a little bit faster, which it does seem like they're continuing to tweak things and try to find a good balance. But I don't know what the ultimate end one needs to be. And then Peace, you said, oh, so that's who Dad is cool now. How? Oh, reading is hard. That's who Dad is cool is. Now I know. Hello, by the way. Hello, Peace Tinker. What is that your in-game name as well? I feel like we've played a couple of times. If so, we have initiative. We can't arrow. Like, we have to win these 2 lanes. I don't know that we have a good way to do that. We have the arrow and Titania, but I assume they probably have a Hawk, and it's going to be 14 power. You drew like 1 card? Yeah. Yep. The Hawk is going to be huge. Quinjet can't make the card cost 0, but it won't make a card not cost 0 if that card can reduce itself to 0. And so that makes sense, J-Sigs. I'm wondering if it's still worthwhile to have in the deck, since it loses some of its value. We'll try it and see. I'm going to take out Maria Hill. It's not always the best choice, especially if you end up doubling down. Sometimes it makes it hard to hit the ideal Moon Girl copy. So we'll try subbing her out for now. You were confused? That's not directed at me, is it, Dad? We keep pairing quite a bit. Yeah, I feel like the RNG range, or the MMR range, not RNG, the MMR range is pretty slight, or pretty low. The arrow value? Yeah. The Keyer, welcome in. Hopefully you're having a great day so far. Good morning. I mean, evening? Oh, yeah, it is evening. And then down, you said your Sandman ramp from last week got you from 98 to 100. That's huge. Is it the first time you've hit Infinite, or have you done it a couple times and it just pushed you over the edge this week? Also, your YouTube videos are the best for learning from, since you explain your play pattern. Thank you, Down. And I think it's one that, as the player base progresses, maybe it loses some of that value, but especially for like newer cards, or like right whenever a patch shakes things up, I think there's quite a bit of value in talking through those plays, so that even if you don't have access to Negasonic, even if you don't have access to Kitty Pryde, you can understand how somebody that does, like, what their thought process might be. That Sandman list never agreed with me. I've heard it both ways. Some people said it did really well for them, and then others said they just weren't able to get it going. And so, like, I saw a lot of people say that it helped them reach Infinite. Some people said they couldn't steal a win to save their life. So I think it's, for me, Sandman decks, or like that type of Electro deck, took a while to get used to. And so I think a bit of it was a learning curve, and a bit of it is just really how you're playing into it. So I feel like with that one in particular, you have to really be able to read what your opponent has and what they're going to be running. You're grinding ranks with the Sandman? How's it going for you, Dad? Are you excited about High Evolutionary? I am. I am also excited about Iron Lad. I think there's going to be some cool applications for that. Just being able to do some kind of crazy plays, especially in unison with Howard the Duck. And maybe if we build it in the right way, we don't even have to. So being able to have potentially like 3 Mystiques, you could have 2 Onslaughts, you could have an extra Patriot, you have a lot of really cool things that you could do with Iron Lad. And then DD Drewski, he said, hey TLSG, happy Monday. I finally hit Infinite last night using your deck that you featured using the Dracula Zoo. That's huge. I give lots of credit to you getting there. I've been playing since November. That's huge. The first time hitting Infinite is, like, some people get discouraged that they don't rank high enough, or they don't get far enough. But I think it's a lot bigger feat than some people realize, and so it's no small thing. So congratulations on hitting Infinite, by the way. Drew? Okay. I'll just call you Drew. I'm learning a lot from your deck videos. I do wish you spent a couple minutes explaining the snap patterns. So the snap patterns, a lot of times it can get kind of tricky. So let's. So a lot of a snap pattern, or snapping with a deck, for me, I snap kind of passively in streams, just because like the split attention. But a lot of times a good snap pattern for me is being able to identify what your opponent is doing in unison with how your deck and what your deck wants to do. So if you hit that high roll from your cards, being able to snap, but not necessarily on autopilots. Like, sometimes I hear people say, if you draw this, then snap on 2. If you draw this, and that's not always the case. So you may have a really good counter, but if the opponent has a Galactus and you don't have anything built in for it, there are ways that maybe you need to be a little bit more cautiously. So I think a lot of that just comes with really understanding the meta and identifying what your opponent is running. So we have 2 Shang-Chis. Not necessarily what we wanted, but we do. That's where we're at. We have 2 of them. We have a pretty big lead in the right lane. It comes down to what we sent them and where they play. And I don't remember exactly what we sent them. I know it wasn't big cards for the most part. It wasn't a Shang-Chi, so they can't take out our She-Hulk. We sent them a Sentinel. I think we're going to try to play the Chavez to the left. How's the deck with Quinjet? With the Quinjet nerf? I only ran it a few times since then. So this is actually one of the first times I've ran it since then. It was a Shang-Chi. But we have Shang-Chi in our hand. We sent them a Shang-Chi though. Oh, we do get the win in the left lane. So I didn't think it was going to perform very well. And so I was really hesitant to try it. But it's been doing pretty decently. I climbed from like 111 to 114 now. And I'm hovering right now, we're 22 games in. I'm hovering around a 62% win rate. And it was a little bit higher when we were off stream and paying like really close attention to the play lines. But it can hold its own. The biggest matchup I was afraid of was the Shuri, but you can intentionally lose initiative so that you can try to do a Shang-Chi swing. You could pull their card with an arrow. You have a couple of ways to deal with that deck as well. Do you think Hawk is more value at 3 than just saving for Galactus? And pull 3 complete. I personally think Hawk is a little bit more flexible. So especially if you're looking into like battle modes or tournaments, so like the smaller tournaments or even some of the bigger ones, a lot of times Galactus doesn't perform as well, just because there's so many counters that can be built directly to block it. Null is strong in the Galactus deck. I think for laddering, Galactus has that surprise element, but if you're going into more of like a battle mode, it loses some of that potency. So I like Hawk because you can. I like using the card Hawk because you can use the cards that add disruption. So like your Korg and your Rock Slide. I can never say that card without feeling like I am just ruining my PG-13 rating. I rarely play battle mode since I don't have Snap Friends. And I mean, that might grow over time. So like Conquest, but that's still several months out. And I think by then Hawk will be down to 3. So I personally don't enjoy playing Galactus, but I do think it's a viable archetype. Something that can do well on the ladder. Once you learn it, once you kind of lean into how it does and what it does well. So if you've seen some play with it and it kind of seems like it's up your alley, I would say save for Galactus. But I like the disruption from Hawk. You can throw him into a couple of different archetypes, a couple of different builds. But on the same argument, Galactus is always going to be 6,000. So you could always also use that as that justification piece. When talking quickly, it's definitely playing with fire. Yep, J-Sigs. And I don't say the full name either because no matter how slowly I say it, I can't, like, it just feels, it feels like it's not great. I think we just skip here. We could play Quinjet. That would help our She-Hulk only. But if we skip here, we have a lot of resources we can play. I would just feel bad playing Galactus since I feel like it's a toxic deck. See, that I think that also comes into play, like the negative connotations around it. But I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Like it's an archetype. A lot of times it's very linear, very straightforward, and very telegraphed. And so I don't have a direct issue with the Galactus plays. It can get frustrating if you're like actively trying to climb and then you have like the worst counter of your life come in, but I think overall it's not terrible. So they could have Hawk, and that's going to be 12 power. That plus something else. We might still outpower it. Ooh, we need to pay attention to how we're playing our Titania. I think it would have bounced there and then bounced back anyways, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. I love the 1 energy spamming decks like this. Just pray for no Killmonger. Yeah. Oh, the second Hawk in the right lane because of Zabu making them both 3 is devastating. We tie in the right lane though. We just lose mid by 13, so we don't overcome that much power. But we got it close. We got it very, very close. Just not quite there where we needed it to be. So the Killmonger a lot of times isn't a huge issue because we're usually not... We can usually drop initiative and priority if we want to. And so I haven't seen it as a big issue against Killmonger. Because a lot of times you're not going to be flooding most of your power onto the board until after they've already revealed. Then Astrid, you said, why do you not like playing Galactus? I think it's, for me, I think it's because it's really linear. Like since it's so telegraphed and easy to read, it's hard for me to try to outplay the opponent. I like decks where I can try and think what they're going to do and play around what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. But Galactus, it does what it wants to do, and that's all that it typically will do. Yeah, the hawk does sound sus. I was trying to figure out why you were saying hawk for like 3 days, and then it clicked. Yep. Especially when I'm running multiple words into that card's name, it never sounds appropriate. The only time I play Galactus and get 2+ cubes is in negative decks. Negative decks, I think, would add a little bit of spice to it, because then it's not as expected. So it can kind of have that surprise element. Losing with Titania on their side is the worst. So, like, if I'm playing Titania and I bounce it to their side, it can be. It can be. It can be devastating. Most of the time with Titania, though, I use it as like a last turn when I can guarantee what it's going to do. We're gonna destroy this before it has a chance to become an issue. This time, we don't want to lose again. We're gonna try not to. So they're gonna have our arrow. We're gonna flood enough on the board on the last turn that I don't think it should matter, but they will have our arrow to use. I was trying to think of a Galactus deck that focuses on filling up the opponent's lane with something like goblins, and rocks using something to clear your lane. I just wanted to have diversity. Yeah, and you can do the goblins, the goblin, hobgoblin, Nimrod, but those still are still pretty linear. And so I built a version that doesn't lean just on Galactus. It had Professor X, it had the goblins, a couple of other ways to win those lanes, but it's still as flexible as it could be, but it's still pretty linear. So I'm painful, but when you get it to work, like filling their lane, yeah, whenever you call out that they're going to be playing in Stark Tower and you bounce a card over, it's really, really big. Actually, speaking of filling up, let's go ahead and skip. We're going to skip. We're going to float. We're going to have the She-Hulk Demon and Titania to use. TLSG with the baby face without the beard. Yeah, I lost 10 years. Or I guess I gained. I got 10 years younger overnight. It's a risky play, but super worth with Titania. Yeah, it can be. So they could still do the Mystique. They have our arrow. They know our general flood pattern. So if we did... I don't know that we even need to do a big resource over here. I think something like that. If they use arrow, they're going to pull us over here. And so then they would just have a 1 cost they could use. If they use Moongirl and they double up, they get extra power here. We have the Quinjet and then the Soak. I actually gained respect for Galactus players after trying to play Galactus. You have a lot of retreats and very small cube gains. Yeah, it can be very trying. That's for sure. And then we played the Quinjet. No, we played the Titania last. Oof. Okay, that's fine. We should be okay after soaking with the Sunspot. I use that Korg variant too. The Pixel one? But yeah, Galactus, that might be why I don't like it. You have a pretty high win rate comparatively, but it's very low cubes overall. So it's 1 and 2 at a time. And then sometimes if you have a big one backfire, at that point you lost 6 games worth of slow wins. And so it can be slow and tedious. Maybe that's why I don't like it as much. There's so many counters that can potentially just derail your entire game plan. And so it feels tough to play. It never feels good whenever it happens to you, but it is tough to play for a long period of time. For your 1v1 redemption, what are the rules? The rules are whatever you make them. And so I'm pretty loose with the 1v1s. Kind of want to sunspot and then just soak. And then Isth, welcome in. Hopefully you're having a great day. Hopefully you had a great weekend. I'm glad you're able to jump in and join us. You know the rules, and so do I. Maybe I'll redeem soon. I was a huge lurker before today. Yeah, no, I think lurkers are... Nexus is kind of unfortunate. Lurkers make streams possible. Like I think they're probably like the 90%. They're the silent 90%. And so, no, absolutely. If you wanna claim a 1v1 at some point, I'd be absolutely game for it. Yeah, the lurk, because I'm a lurker in streams. Most of the time, I just have them on the background, and then I'm just lurking away. Maybe we do Maximus and then Maximus. We still soak in mid. If they do Dr. Doom here, that's only going to send 10 more. They can be at most 17. Yeah, I think Dr. Doom mid is what. Yeah. I think Galactus mid would lose for him because we can soak enough. But yeah, Dr. Doom. Oh, you meant Dr. Doom. Yeah, Dr. Doom is definitely likely. And with Maximus, oof, we don't get quite enough. We don't have our arrow. We don't have Shang-Chi. If we did, maybe we could pull this one off. The Devil Dino in the ramp build is very scary. I assume that they play something else here. We can win Bar Sinister, but we lose everything else. The B-Man, welcome in. And General Sergeant, are you? If you're really my boss, because we both had the 2 p.m. earlier, I appreciate you for not dogging on me for streaming while we're working. Dunny, I'm working and lurking too. I'm lurking at my actual job while I stream though. Rickster, you said missing a few 4s and mostly 5s. But yeah, Sentry is one that can be fun, but is very... you have to really work to enable any benefit from it. Because if you don't have any other enabler, so outside of it just being like the 1 card drop, as a 1 card drop, it's typically a 0 power gain on the board. And so you have to go through and build a lot of cards into your deck just to make sure that you get value out of it overall. And so when you compare it to something like Shang-Chi, Moon Girl, you know you're always going to get a certain amount of value. For Sentry, it might just be 0. It can do well. It's part of that consistency. I think Valkyrie does decently with it. Professor X locking down the right lane or just flooding the right lane in general can protect some of that downside that you face with it. But to do that, you also put yourself vulnerable in the right lane. Yeah, yep. They use the Viper to pass the -8. That one can also be kind of fun to do. The -8 is also within Magneto range, and so if they happen to have initiative and they use a Magneto and you try to Viper it, you might end up accidentally just playing Viper and then losing because Magneto pulled your Void out. Speaking from experience. If you use a bounce deck, you can get away with Sentry too. Yeah, to a degree. You're still having to like commit those resources, and so you have to save them up for that point. And so it can get clunky. Like it can definitely work, but it can also kind of get unideal. What energy is the Sentry? It's 4. It's 4 cost, -8 power. Yeah. So if we double down, we don't really hit much here. You get the full value of Maximus if we end up using it. I think we will go with Moon Girl. That's going to hit Shang-Chi, Arrow, Titania. At least we have 2 Titanias. Yep, you can't Killmonger it either, no. So the ways to clear it are like your destruction tools, so Carnage, Deathlock, your Viper, or Valkyrie to set it to +8, and it gets really rigid. You can also Professor X lock that lane so nothing can get added into it, or lock it down with 4 cards. There's a couple of ways to enable it, but there's a lot of steps to. You can 0+ Sentry, but then you might as well just be running like an Atuma. Like an Atuma or a Typhoid Mary or one of those others that doesn't have quite as big of a downside if you don't hit it with 0. You could also play it behind Cosmo. There's ways to enable it. It's just you're going through a lot to do it. So this looks like the Silver Surfer deck that I featured yesterday. I think we lose this one. I think they have a Killmonger that comes down eventually. So they can play 3 3-cost cards this turn. If they don't have Silver Surfer, then this play loses. If they do, they don't have anything that buffs up here. The Killmonger is going to buff this up by 3, so it goes up to a total of 9. And so we have the Titania that would bring it up to 12, even after our demon's gone. And then the second Titania over here. TLG, how you're setting the meta. Ooh, the Mr. Fantastic I didn't account for. Oh no. It is the Silver Surfer. We completely clear out Nidavellir. Do we have mid because they didn't use Killmonger? I think we do. I think we have, yeah. Yeah, we definitely have mid. We completely clear the right lane. And we are able to secure the Silver Surfer win. Oh, the rock would die too. That's true. And so it'd only be 8. I was expecting the rock to save for whatever reason. Yeah, the Shang-Chi and Nidavellir is always it can pay off in spades. Even if they hadn't used the Silver Surfer, we would have cleared the 10 from the Lizard, and I think we would have still been able to match them in Nidavellir. What a Shang-Chi. If that Shang-Chi's he's eating good today. And then Ori, you said I bought Master Mold and have some buyer's remorse. Help me, TLSG. You're my only hope. Master Mold has been one of the ones that's been really tough to crack. I don't know that there's a. Yeah, we got the quadra kill. I don't know that there's one that is just a surefire good justification to buying them. I haven't had a lot of success with Master Mold in general. This one is one of the better shells that I've been able to have with him. It runs both the Hawk and the Ronin, so it has that kind of hybrid. It takes out the Baron Mordo. I feel like Baron Mordo. It's the hill that I'm going to die on. I don't think Baron Mordo's great. You give the opponent information, you could potentially just be drawing into their Doctor Doom or their 6 costs anyways. Or if they use a wave, it sets it back down to 4 anyways. So you just gave them an extra resource. Anyways, so it cuts that. It does have the Master Mold mainly as like just one of the potential clogs, and it enables your Ronin. If you happen to clog their hand 1 or 2 times with it, then it helps your Hawk out as well. And Baron Mordo has no variance. He doesn't. I didn't realize that. And so this is what I would, if running Master Mold, this is what I would recommend. I don't know that it's amazing, but it's decent for sure. Oh, you don't have Hawk? Oh, gotcha. Yeah, no, Hawk scales with the cards in the deck, so your Rock Slide and your Korg. Ronin scales with in hand, so mainly the Master Mold. But depending on how quickly the opponent is playing, sometimes Master Mold is going to block a draw or maybe 2 from the Hawk himself. That's what I would go with if I was running one. We also have a good card Stature list for anybody that pulled Stature. I've been enjoying running this one in my downtime. Like I like to experiment with the Series 4 and 5 cards. I just don't typically cover them. because not as many people have access to it. Then we have the Negasonic. This is what I ended up leaning on, was like a Silver Surfer Negasonic build. But I don't feel like she's crucial in this one either. You'd love to make that Ronin deck work. Yeah, and I think this one's, like, this is the better of the ones that I've tried. And I've tried quite a few. I always tried to experiment and find at least a decent build with it. This is the best one that I found for Master Mold, because you can't, it's very much a tech card. You can't rely on it to get you a good result every single game. And so with this one, we have the Mystique to hit either Hawk or Ronin. We have a couple of different play lines that could I see that statue deck again? Yeah. If you're going to twist my arm, I'll play it one time for you too. So we can do deck now that it's the selected one. And so this one, it runs Ghost Rider, which I thought was really big-brained. Because if you hit Moon Knight and it discards your Doctor Doom, your Black Bolt, you can bring it back. It has wave, so you can always wave on 3 into a Black Bolt on 4, and then it has all of the same odds of discarding any of their cards rather than just their lowest cost card. I know a couple other cool ways that you're able to enable it. Still odd that Stature doesn't behave like Ant-Man. Like needing a lane full or empty type of thing. I now have Master Mold in my shop. Master Mold, I'd say, is probably not worth it. in most cases. We probably should have waved there just in case. Just in case we draw our Black Bolt from Asgard. Ooh, wait. We get She-Hulk. This looks like a Shuri deck. Wave doesn't necessarily disrupt them, but if we hit Moon Knight, if we hit Black Bolt, we might be able to make them discard some of their needed resources. But yeah, I don't think Master Mold is a buy. I don't think Master Mold is really even a buy at 4, at Series 4 versus Series 5. We don't have any way to... We don't have any way... We don't have any way to discard any cards with Stature. We can do Wave. Since we already have She-Hulk on the board, we could do maybe Wave and then Lizard. Depending on where they play, if we restrict them to only one card next turn, then we could pull it with the Arrow. And I think that's how we're going to win. Wait, you don't have... You have Stature, but you don't have Captain Marvel, Gorbel? Unless you're a content creator or absolutely in love with the card, only the big bads are truly worth 6,000. Yeah, if you're able to be patient for 3 months, 3,000 is much easier to swallow. So we can just Arrow. They can only do one card. We have the lead here, have the lead here. Now, if they have a Captain Marvel, this play loses. I think is the only thing that this one loses to is the Captain Marvel or even a Doctor Doom. Sometimes Shuri decks run that. We're going to hope that they don't, though. Wait, or an Arnim Zola? Did Arnim Zola start getting added back in? Oh, no. When did we start teching in Arnim Zola again? Oh, that's awful. Well. And then Bode, you hit Infinite? Huge. What were you running to hit Infinite? And then Rickster. Yeah, if you want to... I feel like if you want to stream... like, don't worry too much about it being perfect right off the bat. There's going to be learning curves. There's going to be like things that are, but as far as sorry, I didn't answer your question. For a sub for Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel is decent at being able to be dropped alongside Stature on the last turn. Is why she has value over Vision, but you might be able to do a Vision. It's not going to be quite the same. But if you're doing Vision on 5, then you could play it. And then Bode, you said you played Shuri. Every time I veered off it, I dropped. Yeah, Shuri is one of those that it's really strong. It's the primary meta deck for a reason. You said you really loved the design of Master Mold so much that I didn't think enough about it. It's basically just Black Widow. Yeah, it's like Black Widow, but it potentially gives them some resources to use, and so, yeah, it's hard to make that one work consistently, unfortunately. And then Justo, good game. I was taken off guard by the Arnim Zola. I thought most people had removed it, and so whenever you dropped it, I was like, well, we lost this one. I thought the wave into arrow was going to be able to steal it, but the Arnim Zola was strong. I don't think we run Shang-Chi in that one. It was a very good game, by the way. He said, "This is why I love Snap. The meta shifts in and out every other week." Yep, Zola was spurned because people teched him for him, but now he's a surprise again. Yep. He's. I ran him in my original Sauron list because I just thought it was good to have that flexible piece, and then people started like saying, "No, he's not good to be added in there," and then people cut him, and then now you can kind of sneak him back in from time to time too. So with the wave, we have arrow. They did a hood and wave. So do we pull into Rickety Bridge just in case it's Galactus? When does the meta ever change? It's not huge changes. So like the main archetypes that do well stay doing well. But it's like the minute changes that kind of shift. It's like the tech choices almost that shift depending on what else you're seeing in the meta to try to give yourself just that slight edge over your opponent. It changes. It changes drastically whenever Second Dinner decides it. Otherwise, like it's those small, minute changes that help keep it ticking. One of my favorite surprise plays is to play a Black Panther on its own and then do nothing to it. They have Wolverine. Yeah, I was waiting for the snap. Until they snapped, we didn't have anything to fear. But after a snap comes down, there's not really any reason for us to stay. We don't have anything that can stick in the Rickety Bridge. I felt dirty. I climbed to 80-ish with Bast and Valkyrie, C3, but then I pulled out Shuri and finished the climb with Shuri. It's... Why retreat later after snap? It's a habit. I got in a bad habit of always using just retreat now, and so now I've reversed that habit to I always just do retreat later. Don't feel bad about running Shuri. Like it's strong. It wouldn't be the main meta deck if it wasn't strong and wasn't consistent. I mean, there's just negative sentiment around it, and so use what works well for you. And I'd say don't worry too much about the rest. Now we might be able to do something fun like a Titania to bounce a Titania and like a Sentinel to bounce more power in Bar Sinister or Bar with No Name over to their side. Once we get a better idea of what kind of deck they're running. I unlocked Thanos after the nerf. And making my last push with him. Yeah, Thanos is still decent. He's still, somewhat viable. It's just he's not as consistent as he was before. Oh, same guy. That's right. So this is the Galactus guy. So he's losing mid, but winning right. So we have initiative this turn. We have initiative this turn. I think we keep a couple of our small cards. We try to make sure we have initiative going into the next turn just in case. Play left. Oh, do you think he runs like the goblins? Hobgoblin? Maybe. We don't necessarily need arrow, depending on where they play it. Because we could do Titanium and Iceman. That's going to bounce an extra card over to their side. And so it'll block the Galactus. That's what we're angling for anyways. Now, if they Hobgoblin over here, and we get the odd read that they're going to play in Space Throne, it might be difficult. we might not be great. But we are going to play for Space Throne and see what happens. I couldn't get any consistency out of any Shuri deck for some reason. In fact, I have a 47% win rate every time I played a Shuri deck. I could see that. Ooh, wait. With the wave. Now we can't send Titania to their side. So we got lucky and we top decked Arrow. But they can also adjust what they play in mid so that, or maybe they just don't play anything. But I think we have to play Arrow to middle to try to block their Galactus. Too many people play Shuri, so you may get a lot of mirror matches. Yeah, you might get a lot of mirror matches, and then I think for somebody new picking up, yeah, it could be Doc Ock as well. Yeah, I think no matter what they have, whether it's Leech, Doc Ock, I think that we have to do this to cover for a potential Galactus. But as someone new coming into playing Shuri, if you haven't played it before, you're kind of at a disadvantage because everybody you're matching up knows like the play lines for Shuri. They know typically how to play around it. And so I think learning it now is much harder. So I haven't played much Shuri since... Okay, the hood makes sense. I haven't played much Shuri since it became super common. And so I think it would be much different. Before it could get the surprise factor in 4 and 8. Now I feel like it's much more critical to get like a good placement or a good play line. So if they do Doc Ock, they could do Ock. They could do Doc Ock and the Demon in Wakanda. Can we beat 16? If we do this, that brings us up to 17, right? We have initiative, though. We're pretty sure they're going to play 2 cards there, though. So the first one, the Doc Ock will bounce it over there after it reveals. Demon will bounce it back. Oh, yeah, they just play it left and win. You're right. 1 card with Electro. You're also right. We lose the left lane without having a way to push anything else over there. And without having a way to change this one. I think. They didn't snap, so we're gonna White Hood with not any destroy. It's true, without Destroyer. We're going to send Titania their way and then hope that it sends it back. Hope that they don't have the big play. They do. They do have the big play. I'm not even counting in the Iron Man, for instance. When there's dog and armor on the board, Shuri's invincible. Not necessarily. It's much harder to block it, but it's not necessarily invincible. Depending on what you're running. If you have like lane lockdowns, if you have super rare, but if you have Negasonic, you can hurt there.
Welcome. It took you long enough.
And then Honk, thank you so much for the Prime sub. Hopefully you're having a fantastic start to your week. I'm so glad to have you here. I did reapply. Oh, the 3rd time. Are they going to be just the 3rd time in a row? I did reapply for partner. I haven't heard back. I didn't get the instant no this time, which hopefully is a good sign. Is there any Juggernaut meta? Yeah, the Juggernaut meta is pretty fun too. I ran Juggernaut in a couple of things, and it's you have to update the client for. Wait, did they just come out with an update? Solid. Oh, you were referring to Snap, Snip, Snap. Gotcha. Some hours ago. No one knows what there is in the patch. But did they update they updated the client? Maybe I need to do that. Let me see if there's one queued up on Steam. Ooh. I might need to just relaunch. Wow, yeah, we have one. It's unscheduled though. And it doesn't have any kind of like indication or anything. of what it was. I'll close it after this and update it. It shouldn't take more than like a second or two. So we get a little bit of advantage. They can't Galactus into Morag. How big was it? I haven't downloaded it. The last activity shows the 21st. But I don't have anything for I don't have anything that shows how big it is. 43 megabytes on Android. Probably about the same. They've ramped. They could Galactus this turn, but then they would have to be able to flood this entirely next turn. TLG, you lost hair. I did. Oop, after 2 p.m. more missions. Ooh, do you have a 2 p.m. meeting every day, Sergeant? If so, how'd it go? And then it doesn't say anything. It just says that there's an update. It's not a forced update, so it's an unscheduled one. But I don't know what's in it. And then Hink, yeah, we did lose a little bit of hair. We lost a little bit of hair on our face. I'm gonna see if there's anything on the Marvel Snap Discord as well while we're waiting for them to decide what they should run. So the Galactus has to be in the left lane. Nope, nothing since Negasonic. So can they play 3 full cards here? They play Shang-Chi, don't they? So if they run Shang-Chi, if they're anticipating the She-Hulks, do we think they can play 3 cards? Probably. Yeah, the Shang-Chi beat us last game. They do have Demon. Maybe Demon Death Null? We get the 1 out of 3 win. We finally beat him. We finally did it, guys. We overcame Mygo. He's the final big boss. I'm gonna go ahead and do the update real fast. It should just be basically just relaunching. And then Silvo, she said, I recently recommended your YouTube to a friend of mine, but he could not figure out if he knows you by your name. So I said, the dude with the calm, nice dad vibes, and he immediately knew who I meant. Yeah, yep. That so the update was 17.9 megabytes on Steam. So that definitely like personifies me and the channel. I don't know if it's been asked, but did you or did you not? But did you play the D4 beta? I did. I didn't do it on stream, just because it had like I think I didn't do it on stream just because truthfully I walked while I did it. I had the stand-up desk going. I had the treadmill and I walked and just kind of unwound. But I got to level 20. I ran a sorcerer. I did I think it was a chain lightning build. Chain lightning on a sorcerer. I got to rank or level 20, just enough to be able to get the reward if I decide to buy the full game. We're gonna start a TLSG guild. I mean, we can. Don't remind me about your treadmill. Yeah, I thought about doing a test run with it, like using my stand-up desk, having it run today, and just walking at a slow speed to see if it's like incredibly distracting or not. Because if not, then I'm toying around with doing like a community challenge for steps. And then if we hit it, then I'll like, and then Honk the Goose. I don't know if I thanked you for the Prime sub. If I didn't, I apologize. Thank you so much for the Prime sub coming through from Honk the Goose. Some kind of like step challenge that if we hit accumulatively, or if like even individuals hit a certain amount, then I'll like gift subs or give away season passes or whatever it might be. TLSG Dad Guild? Sign me up. If one comes to Snap, we're definitely creating one here. Otherwise, if we jump over at another game, we'll do it there as well. Did the doggo walk by? Headshot? You did, but I'll take the double. All right, I wanted to make sure that I didn't miss it. We don't have anything big here unless we force them into having that lane capped out. It looks like a Deadpool death wave, so we can expect a Killmonger, which is not great. Dads Unite. Sorry, I'm joining Jeff's guild. That's okay. That's understandable, Jeff. Or that's understandable, Dad. Only dads. We get only dads. Dads Unite. I'm sure we could come up with a name that's appropriate and funny. Everyone at work is asking what exactly does TLSG stand for? I thought you could explain it better than me. Yeah, no, I can absolutely Zero. I can absolutely explain it. Only Dad sounds a little bit in NSFW. It does. It definitely does. Is Only Dad's not appropriate? Probably not. Probably not appropriate. I'm curious. You're curious what the name stands for? There's a lot of origins for it. A lot of falsities. It's difficult to pin down. Just tuned in. Is this deck still viable? We've been doing decently. We did run into a bad run in against a Galactus for a little bit, but otherwise it's been perfectly fine. And so we have Folt who used the emote, the TLSG1 explanation. So for those at Zero's Work CEO Alex, if you're still watching, TLSG, I previously, before I dedicated all of my spare time into creating content for Marvel Snap, I was an avid hiker. I liked to really push the limits, and I like to kind of chart the uncharted areas. Oof, we're gonna get absolutely destroyed here. I like to unchart the uncharted areas, see if I could, I don't know, discover anything that just was really cool and hadn't necessarily been explored yet. And so there was one day that I, ventured really far off the path, and I ended up kind of getting lost. I wasn't able to find my way back, and I ended up getting stranded because it was so far off of that normal trail. I ended up getting stranded for 3 days, and it's not like 127 hours where I was pinned to a rock or anything. I couldn't find my way back to civilization. And so after I finally got saved, there was somebody that finally stumbled upon me. I finally found somebody that was kind of exploring the Uncharted as well. And after I was saved, I wanted to make sure that that didn't happen to anybody else. Again, if they got lost or away from the beaten trail. And so TLSG stands for Trail Location and Safety Guide. So it's like a little GPS device that will help you find any plotted or tracked trails, and helps you kind of navigate back if you ever get lost or stranded. There's an update on mobile. Do you know what it's about? I don't Targaryen. So I actually just updated. There's one on Steam as well. And so TLSG stands for the lies and slander gamer. So all he does is lie. It really stands for that live streaming guy. So it's 8 years ago now. I had a Twitch account that I streamed on for only a month. And I thought it'd be really funny if, whenever I was playing, if somebody found it and was trying to tell their friend, and they were like, "Hey, have you seen that live stream guy?" And their response would be, "Which one?" I thought that was, for whatever reason, very, very funny. And so during the 3 weeks to a month that I that I streamed, chat, the handful of people that I streamed to, they shortened it to TLSG. That live streaming guy, they shortened it just to be able to chat a little bit easier. And so it doesn't necessarily mean anything huge, but for whatever reason, the acronym I just kind of carried over and took with me to other games that I played. So like World of Warcraft, I ran a character with TLSG, and people were always like, "What does it mean?" And I told them, I just randomly hit letters on the keyboard, so I didn't have to explain like the whole backstory. But whenever I started streaming here, I wanted to kind of make it fun, and so I always try to come up with some kind of crazy different backstory. Right now, I've only plugged in like 3 of the different name commands, but you have TLSG 1 through 4. I guess only 4 of them. TLSG 1 through 4 to be able to see the different stories that I've told over time. He said you can hear Alex laughing in his office. Alex, I'm glad that you enjoyed that one. The last scruffy gamer. I mean, until I shaved my beard, I might have been the last scruffy. iOS update says token shop update, card balance, tuning, updated visuals. So I think that just carried over from the last patch. Because it said, like, it didn't say there was an exact update on Steam. So they played Sauron, which is not great for us, because I assume a Shuri is imminent. Maybe we skip here. We have the She-Hulk that we can play this turn. We can also flood like a Sentinel. And then next turn we could do an Arrow and our Titania. Now you can be the least scruffy gamer. At least for a couple of days I can be. Is there some sort of rule where you get a pity gold / ink split? I don't think so, Headshot. I think it's just after 4 you can potentially get the black and white. After 5 you can get the gold, and then from there it's just like a 10% chance for each split. No worries, I'm Norwegian at my office. They say, well, you can't trust a man without a beard. I mean, that proves that proves true today. So this comes down to a lucky read, because they skipped last turn, right? They can play She-Hulk and then maybe one other card, or they could go for She-Hulk and then a bunch of small cards. I think Titania is risky. We're gonna do Sentinel. We're gonna do Arrow in mid and see if we can. We're gonna try our luck. We're gonna test our luck. See if we can hit it. We get one, but not both. Ah, well. The right lane was the 1 out of 3 shot that we needed. I think we lose if it's the She-Hulk and the Taskmaster. I don't think there's any way we overcome that much power. We actually lose by only 1. This is why all politicians are well shaven. Oof. And then Lord Bro, you said I'm gonna make a hot cocoa. See you in a bit. We'll catch you when you get back, Lord Bro. So the deck was doing well earlier. I haven't been doing as hot with it. And I don't know if it's, I don't know necessarily why. Like I started the stream with almost a 70. It was like a 67 or so % win rate over like 15 games, I think. And since then we've dropped down to just over a 53. And so if it was just 53, that's fine. Actually, I've never seen this cable variant before. Is that one new? I'm not gonna buy it. I would never buy it, but it doesn't look terrible. Depending on how this background looks after you upgrade it, might look pretty sleek. It's a lot of money to spend on cable. Mystery patch, scary. Yeah, Rob. We don't know what the patch was for, what it's covering. Hopefully it's not. Hopefully it's good. Hopefully it's a good thing. Hopefully it shouldn't be scary. That was with the new additions. No one knows on Reddit. Yeah. I mean, but that typically holds true, right? No one truly knows on Reddit. For Sentinel, what do we want to upgrade and split? I kind of prefer this variant over the Steampunk one, just because Steampunk was on the season pass. So I think this one is probably a little bit more rare. I'll check on Reddit if anything has been data mined. Hopefully more locations featuring rocks. That one is red. We'll go ahead and split it a couple times. People asking on Discord with no reply. Yeah, it's weird that they pushed an update and just had like no notes, no context or anything. I think it's probably just some small backend fix. If they didn't make like an announcement, there was probably either a glitch or a bug that they needed to fix. But it's still weird to not hear anything. Yeah, the notes were copy and pasted. And it didn't happen too long ago, so maybe... Yeah, we had it's a really small patch. It was like 17 megabytes on Steam. It was like 49 on Android. And so there's a small patch. Hopefully they just deleted everyone's Shuri deck. That's the update. They changed it so that you never draw Shuri on 4. It just didn't say anything. Yeah, it could have been the Kang, like the infinite loops. So like the one with Morph getting pulled in and potentially switching over into a Kang, creating an infinite loop. It may have been something like that. In some of my games, there was a bug with Lockjaw. Yeah, there's been a visual bug with Lockjaw for a while. Maybe, I don't know if they would do like an emergency patch for that either. Actually, I don't know what they would do in an emergency patch without saying anything about 4. And then Revark, welcome in with the 5 gifted. Very much appreciated. You had to reclaim your top slot, right? Right. If you got one of the gifted subs from Revark, make sure to give them a big thank you for the continued support. Absolutely huge coming through from Revark. And then Pinan, you said it's pretty normal to just ignore some small bug fixes when it comes to notes. Yeah, especially if it's something that wasn't like commonly known. So if it's not like a bug that was big that was discovered, I would secret patch it and not say anything. Let's try and get our win rate back up. I'm gonna think the Quinjet's probably fine, but I haven't got much use out of it. We'll try it a few more times this way and see if our luck turns around. Greetings, Revark. Welcome in. Hopefully you had a great weekend, and hopefully your Monday started off better than mine did. I'm still covering for somebody at work, so I was juggling an awful lot. I had a call that I'd muted for earlier too, because I got added to a phone tree as well. So if the phone rings, I have to answer it within the 3rd ring, or else I get in trouble. Turns out Crystal was bugged since launch, but nobody knew. I mean, she might have been. Nobody used her to figure it out. We can do Sunspot, Iceman. It's probably... this isn't great. No matter what it pulls into here, it's not great, but... Monday is the beginning of your week? Oh, of your weekend. Oh, huge. And so you just finished off. You're ready for a little bit of relaxation. So it looks like a Galactus deck with the cloak. And so Galactus and Bar Sinister is awful. We're going to be able to take out the death with the Shang-Chi. And if they move it, it's going to get destroyed. And actually, why would they run Cloak and Fisk Tower at all? Unless they didn't want anybody to move anything. Okay, so the Electro comes down. It does support a Galactus. So they have 5 energy here. Do we think they have it's either a Hobgoblin and Bar Sinister, which I think either way would be devastating. 1 cost Demon State 8. So yeah, it is so. A Hobgoblin and Bar Sinister would actually be pretty bad for us. Because then they could do that. They could lean in on Galactus on the last turn. Even skip and do a Doc Ock in mid for 1 turn. I think we run from this one. If we had initiative, we could fill up Bar Sinister and not have to worry. But with them having the priority, I'm a little bit afraid of the Hobgoblin. This is your first time in the 90s, so I have a question. How is it fair that to get to Infinite, I have to play Infinite players? It won't be for long, King. It won't be for long. We may need to switch off a Moon Zoo. It was doing good earlier, but it's just not holding its own. I'm gonna try the Sarah deck that I was running earlier, that I featured yesterday. And so King, they're in a update that's coming hopefully pretty soon. They're gonna split up the Infinite players and those that are not. So you'll stop matching into them once that's out. Oh no, you got some really hot cocoa, Lord. It takes me forever to drink hot cocoa or coffee or anything similar. My opponent played Cable and it crashed my game, and every time I try to reconnect, it crashes. Maybe they introduced the ultimate Cable variant, and they figured he needed a secret buff, and so if you play him, it just locks your opponent out of the game. I played Dexter the other day, and he had me beat, but it was only for 1 cube. So I threw a Dr. Doom into Cosmo for funsies, and he roasted me, then put it on YouTube. Kind of bummed about it. Hurt Smith. Even if it wasn't intentional, your card being placed there. Even if it wasn't intentional, like I've made that mistake before. Like it's not that uncommon of a mistake. I would try not to get too down on it. I've accidentally played my own. I've accidentally played my own Doctor Doom in my own Cosmo lane, and so it'll pass. I think I'm sure it'll blow over. But I am sorry that happened to you. That's why I try not to say anything bad about any of my opponents whenever I'm recording, or really in general, because I've probably made the same mistake multiple times. So no use beating somebody down. And then if that person's a viewer, I don't want to discourage them from like watching in the future. I don't want anybody to have anxiety whenever they match up against me, because I want it to be a good match all the way through. Didn't check the video yet, but have you commented on Polaris and Shang-Chi on this list? So Polaris, I think, is always a good ad. Shang-Chi, we ended up cutting for a little bit more restriction early on. So like the Goose, hopefully restricting them from being able to get the... Is this the right scene? No, it's not. Goose, hopefully being able to restrict them from getting those big resources, and then we're controlling the rest of the lanes with Juggernaut. So instead of the Shang-Chi, we're trying to just kind of position their cards inefficiently instead. So we lose the left lane. We don't have anything that can reach into the Crimson Cosmos either. So even if we did Maximus, we don't win the left lane. We can't destroy the Nova with our Killmonger. We can't Juggernaut it out. But I think Polaris is always a good ad. I thought about maybe cutting one of the second 2 costs for it, but I think even then, I don't know that it's quite worth the change. And so we do lose our Juggernaut. We can't even hope for Hail Mary. They did a big Black Bolt in the flooded lane, so we're gonna go ahead and we'll retreat out. Not a good start for our new Silver Surfer list switch. Started off the stream real strong, and then we've kind of sputtered out from there. We'll pick it back though. I think we climbed up to 114, and now we're down to 112, just a couple of cubes at a time. I zeroed my Shuri because of Quantum Realm. Yep, I've done the like Quantum Realm can create some really weird play lines that you forget that it's like zero. If it's no longer on the board, you can forget that it was played. It just becomes kind of those mistakes can happen. So just like in the tournament I cast over the weekend, somebody played Red Skull into not the Quantum Tunnel, I think it's the Quantum Realm, and so then it set it to a 2 cost. Like It's something that I've done. Like it's easy to overlook. Wish there was strictly a way to buy collector's tokens. I'm 500 short from Hawk. Tomorrow there should be the Token Tuesday. They've been doing those each week, and usually that's pretty good value for the car or for the gold cost. And so I think tomorrow you might be able to get what you're looking for. Well, you quadra killed your opponent playing this list a bit back. That's an omen if I've ever. That's true, General. We did line up the quadra kill. We couldn't get a Pinta. Never gonna set up a Pinta, but we got the quadra. The rip-off bundle? Yeah, no, the one from yesterday was not Token Tuesday. The one from yesterday was really, really bad value. The one for tomorrow should be a lot better. Haven't seen Sarah Surfer in a hot minute. Is it competitive? So it's actually what I hit Infinite this season with, was Silver Surfer. That was before a few of the shakeups. But I do think it's still... Yeah, Pentakill is only for Gambit. Yep, that's very true. Yep, cool. We are back to Surfer. Oh, I actually should probably update the title. So the Moon Zoo was doing decent, but it really kind of stalled out. Stalled out for a little bit, unfortunately. Do we need to do... Yeah, let's go ahead and do Sarah here. That we're not going to allow them to draw any more resources. They did run Shuri, so they could have a Captain Marvel. Ooh, the Nimrod. You seem different, and I can't tell what it is. It's the beard. I shaved. They have initiative. So it's going to put 10 power over here. Buffing it once is only going to bring it to 9. We lose this lane by 1 because of the double-powered Nimrod. Their destroyer goes in mid. Since we don't have priority, I don't think we can win this one. Talking about bad omens, you may have been right. we can get the 14 power here, but I don't think we overcome 15 in this lane. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That brings us up to just 12. 12 to their 14. We had just a little bit more reach in this lane, I think we could do it, but we're gonna retreat out for the 2. The blanket basket moves. Yep. I also inched the blanket basket forward by like this much. We're doing it little by little. We don't want it to be alarming, but eventually it's gonna be like right here. On my destroy deck, any suggestions for replacement for Mysterio? For destroy deck? So the Mysterio is mainly in there. I mean, it's 2/4. The Lizard, I think, would be probably a decent replacement. Yeah, it has decent value. It's going to be the closest in like point for point value compared to Mysterio. Mysterio helps buff up your Carnage a little bit further and like kind of chalk up your destructions because of the decoys. I don't remember what they're called. The decoys, the ones that are not the real Mysterio. And so that's mainly what it's in there for. But if you're looking for just the value, then Lizard would be decent. Day 43, the basket is in TLSG's lap. Yeah, it's gonna be like eventually it'll be the stream. I won't even be here. I picked up Monster Train on sale and has been refreshing. Spooter Duder, I haven't heard of Monster Train. What kind of game is it? And then Boosty, welcome in. Do you have any bounce decks to recommend? Yeah, so I can show you the one after this one. Oh, it's like Slay the Spire? Really? I enjoyed Slay the Spire. It's a roguelike game. I love a good roguelike. A good roguelike game. Cards that cost 4, 5, and 6 can't be played. But we can't reach the Crimson Cosmos. That's the second time with this deck that we can't reach over there, and we can't play anything in this lane. And so we can't stop their MODOK from coming down. So I think since we can't stop their Modok, we lean more into like Brood. Ooh, okay, so they storm the right lane. Oof. Is Slay the Spire for free? Slay the Spire, the last time I checked it wasn't. It's kind of like Slay the Spire, but you have 3 floors at one time. Wow. So you get like more to choose from as far as like terrain. Googly eyes on the basket easy stream. Yeah, just sit back and let it do it. Let it do its thing. So I think we Juggernaut here, but that doesn't. I mean, we won't be able to Silver Surfer. We can't do anything. J Sigs, you're talking about Slay the Spire, right? Being 10 to 20. Yeah. So I haven't bought it again because I bought it on Steam and I would like to be able to play it when I'm not at my computer, but I refuse to buy it a second time around. Storm them back. They won't expect that. We maybe should have. We're gonna lose the. Can't do anything. They're gonna think that we're just trying to play around the Daredevil, but we just really can't do anything. It was free on PlayStation Plus a while back. Oh, I should have downloaded it. I have. Was it PlayStation 5 or did 4 kind of meet in that as well? Wait, Hurtsmith, you said that Enchantress and Camartage doesn't silence both? Does it really? Oh, so the reason it doesn't is because it triggers both of those actions at the same time. So it clears the Invisible Woman, but then it doesn't break that action to reveal the cards. Because it's still like mid-turn. And it doesn't transition over. It's the same reason like playing Ghost doesn't swap like your next card and like stop it from revealing until your opponent does. And so it's just like an initiative thing. Yeah. It's one of those that you would think that it should. But for whatever reason it doesn't. It doesn't function that way. Don't buy Slay the Spire for the second time to play it on the go, but rather Steam Deck for measly $450 to play it on the go. I mean, I've thought about it. I have thought about it. So this is the bounce deck that right now is probably the most consistent and poised to be one of the strongest. Especially with Kitty Pryde coming out tomorrow. I think we might even. I don't necessarily know what we take out. Maybe the Black Widow for Kitty Pryde. It lowers the curve some, but it also takes away some of the disruption that helps your Hawk. I don't know. I don't know what the best... You put a goose on a not yet revealed big house earlier. It's like a pseudo... It's like a pseudo Professor X lock. The Steam Deck is incredible. I have thought about it. Not necessarily just for Slay the Spire, but just in general. I have considered buying it. Did you change something with your audio? I don't remember it echoing through your mic in the past. Wait. It's... Oh my gosh. Should be better. So I split it. I split it the other day. One that catches the desktop, one that catches just the Snap game. So it wasn't necessarily an echo it wasn't necessarily an echo so much as it was playing it twice. It was on the louder audio. It was doubling. Yeah. Yeah, it was for ambiance. It was set both ways. So it looks like Cerebro 2 deck, and so they'll likely be able to fill up the raft before we can. But I think that's okay. And so I had split it so that like if I had like a stream or anything up, the desktop audio didn't pick it up, but I just forgot to mute it back the right way. Chibi Korg? Yeah, we have the Chibi Korg. We pulled it. We pulled it a while back, just from the collection track, and so I've been enjoying it since then. Fast coming in just in time. Yeah, just in time. Just in time. Actually, with the Scorpion, that's not terrible. We could do... So let's do our demon, our beast, and then we'll do Bast. That's going to pull these two back into our hand. It'll set them all to 3. Oh, wait. We don't want demon to be 3. Demon's better now. Let's do it. Let's do it the other way. We'll keep demon on the board. Yeah, no, we don't want a demon Bast. You're right. Falcon, demon, Bast. We could have done Falcon, demon, Bast as well. That way we saved our beast bounce for some higher targets. Yeah, that could have been a good line too. This bounce deck is so spicy. I just opened Bast without even having completed Series 3. Yeah, this one, it's really solid. Like, it has a lot of flexibility, a lot of different play lines that kind of help drive that consistency factor that is lacking in a lot of bounce decks. So we can do Hood. I don't think we ever do Falcon now. With the Cerebro 2, that's going to be a pretty big lane for him. Dream Dimension probably doesn't help them, though. Go ahead and send them something with Widow's Bite. And then I am on a phone tree, so I have to mute for a second, guys. While I talk through how do I reset my password? Well, that was an easy one. So with the final turn, we have Hawk that we can do in mid, and then I think we push for this left lane. So if they do Cerebro, that brings us up by 2, 4, 6, 8. That brings us to 16. Hawk is going to be 6. It's going to be 9. So that pushes us to 16 too. I think they win the tiebreaker, actually. The TLSG shave for the sub goal? No, I just shaved Lip Readers, I summon you. No, I shaved just because it got to that time. It was a bit too long. If they have Cerebro, if they have both, then we just lose. We're going to retreat out of this one. It didn't line up quite how we needed. We are going to retreat out, unfortunately. Seems like we've been doing that a lot for like the last hour. You don't live capture so you can rewind? On Twitch, I actually don't know how to rewind. On YouTube, it was really easy. That was probably the only thing that it had going for it. Who is doing TLSG stream today? Sounds just like him, but it looks a little bit different. That was the only thing that I liked about YouTube, was that it had the immediate ease of being able to rewind it if needed. I've been trying to find another cool deck to try. Just watched your Dracula Zoo. Gonna have to try it out later today. There's a couple of like kind of spicy ways to build Dracula Zoo that I've seen. One had a couple of bounce components. One was a little bit harder to attain, but had some pretty cool things going for it. The one that I featured is one that's fairly consistent, that I've enjoyed playing. You have to live capture the stream. Oh, you record Revarg? Do you record the stream? Do you live capture it? So we get some pretty good value out of Shuri's lab, right? We can do the demon, we can do Korg, we can eventually do like Falcon or Beast to pull them back up and play it back again. No, I mean, if you did, I mean, it's I'm streaming on the internet, so if you did, it's fine. But I was just curious. Exposed. And then Uncle, you said, were you able to play Diablo over the weekend? I did a little bit, not as much as I was planning on, because I did end up doing the casting on Saturday, and so I casted for 3 hours, and that was right in the middle of the day. So then from there, I had to give my wife a break from watching the kids solo. So I didn't play quite as much, and then at the end of that day, I was exhausted, so I didn't play that night. But I did reach level 20. I reached level 20 on a sorcerer build, and then I stopped because that's where you get the rewards, and I didn't necessarily feel like I needed to grind any more from there. Oh, you can open the video on demand for the stream and rewind. Ooh, that's a good call, Rumble. I used to do it for someone else because I was modding for them. Sometimes they would ask for a clip of the playback of something. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, we can Korg, Demon, and then Beast our Falcon back in. Like we have a lot of reach. Our Demon is also going to be free, so we can play it into the Crimson Cosmos pretty easily. This was way back. It may be easier now. I know that clipping is a little bit easier than it used to be. Oh, and then the man, you said, how did that go? The casting? I don't know. I'm a really bad judge of my own my own stuff. And so like if you ask me, I'm probably the most critical of my own things, or of my own like performances and things like that. And so like I would probably say it didn't go great, but it might have been just fine. I don't really know. If we had a bishop or anything that was really being enabled here, this would be huge. We're gonna have a 48 power demon. We're gonna have the 16 power Korg. We'll have another demon as well. Hey, wait, you shaved? We did. We did shave. Oh, but they play the Spider-Man in the Crimson Cosmos, which is tough. That's very tough. I mean, we have a lot of power in these two lanes. We'll just see if we're able to beat it. But no, Zombie Lemon, I did shave. Nice to have a pretty open weekend. I was able to play quite a bit. Oh, yeah, Druid was one that I wanted to try out, but I didn't get the chance to. I went with Sorcerer first, and then Druid was going to be my second choice. So I'm glad to hear that it went well for you. So our only upside is that we go second here. They have 9 cards left in their deck, so I think something like this should probably be fine. This is going to be 32 power in mid, plus the demon. We'll see what they have. They reveal first. Watch out for Valkyrie. They had initiative. So we're gonna have just a slew of just huge 0 and 1 cost cards on the board. Oh no, you're fine, Ook. It is definitely a concern, especially with like the Spider-Man lock. Valkyrie is definitely a valid concern, but we'll gladly take the 2 cubes there. I think with a good spectator mode, Snap is an awesome contender. An awesome contender for... Hey, who thinks I should open this email from Bank of America? I don't know. It sounds like it might be kind of suspect. Oh, and then the man, you said, do you think Snap has a legit chance to be viable spectator esport? I think it has to have the right tools. So like a spectator mode, so that you can really navigate those games efficiently as like a caster, as a viewer, so you know what's going on. And then I don't know. I think there needs to be a variety of decks that hold their own against each other. But right now it's usually what we see is one big deck kind of takes control of the game for a month, a week, and then like that is kind of like it holds its place for that segment of the meta, which isn't always exciting from like a viewer standpoint. So I think the reason games like League of Legends and like the ones that you think of for really big in esports, there's a big element of skill that is outside and kind of oversees any kind of solid meta. It's harder to get that in card games. Your opponent Scorpion is going to have a bad time. I mean, we can bounce fast. We can bounce faster back in, right? But no, I think with how competitive the card game can be and how much room for being able to play around and play efficiently and like craft decks, and how engaging it is for the player base. I think it has a chance, but it has to be what the player base wants. It can't be something that feels like it's forced, or else I don't think it'll succeed. Junk deck seems to be most consistent for me. Junk decks can be, yeah. But sometimes they depending on what meta you're seeing or what you're seeing from the meta, sometimes it can't always hold up. Bink said Daily Bugle was the second best location, and he's not wrong. Daily Bugle is one that it always gives you information. It always gives you like a potential resource to play around, but you can use that efficiently throughout the game. And so I agree. It's a pretty solid one. It's much better than something uninteractive like you're forced to have 5 rocks in your deck. And then you said what'll get me to infinite that's not Shuri? Just something that's consistent. If you're not tilted and if you're not tilting, so if it's something you like and you navigate well, it's going to seem like it takes a lot less time. Atilin is another one that I didn't realize how much I was glad it was gone until it came back. Now it feels like I see it every game. But yeah, you're either running Shuri or you build your deck and you're prepared for the Shuri. Wait. Should we be able to see that? I mean, we could have assumed. But I don't think we should be able to click on it and know that that's what it is. Definitely tilted this last week. It dropped from 98 to 89. Yeah, and it can happen. It can happen quicker than what you might think, anxiety. And it happens in like small bursts. Like sometimes I'm playing and I'm like, I'm not tilted. I'm just losing, and then like I'm also not snapping efficiently and just like playing inoptimally. And then I realize, well, maybe I was a little bit tilted. Their demons in mid are big. They skip here as well. Are they running a bounce deck that has a She-Hulk? What if you click on the other card? It wouldn't reveal the other card. Just the one that we sent them. Because I think it counts as our card. Yep, Savvy. I didn't realize until like right before they brought it back, and then I realized how much I was glad it was gone for that while. They have 7 cards. They're going to have 8 cards in their deck. I think we do this. This isn't a lot in this right lane, though. We're going to try it. We know one of their cards over there is a dud. The other one could be their Hawk, and then they just play for the left lane. I could see a couple ways that we lose this one. And then Mr. Carrier, welcome in. Hopefully you're having a great day. Hopefully your Monday has been going well. My Monday has been chaotic, to say the least. But I was able to finally launch the stream and dedicate time to it. Every once in a while I get pulled over into a phone tree I got added into abruptly. But so far it hasn't been too bad. Next patch they'll nerf Beast to avoid 0-cost cards for sure. Maybe. That way you can't abuse it. The Killmonger was... They do have a She-Hulk. They're running an augmented version. I think we lose... No, we win. I forgot Angela had been hit with Bast. No, we would have won by 1 anyways. Looking forward to Kitty Pryde and Monkey. Yeah, I think Kitty Pryde is going to really... I think she's going to slot into bounce really well. She can also fit into like some Sarah Surfer builds, but those are a little bit, I think, too reliant on that last turn. And if you're relying that heavily on the last turn, you leave room to be Sandmaned, to be hit with Leech, and just like counter it really heavily. And so something like this, you can really control when you're going to drop just kind of drop all your resources. You get Shuri's Lab again, which is one of those that I didn't realize I was going to enjoy so much with Bounce. But Kitty Pryde, I think, is one, like, with the Bounce, you can control, like, if you're anticipating Sandman, you can flood as much as you can onto the board before that. Hopefully they don't touch Beast. He's not in a great spot. So, like, they don't... This makes it -4. We'd have to rely on... If we did Hood, we'd have to rely on getting... If we did Hood in Shuri's Lab, we'd have to rely on getting Bast, which we get. Do we want to Beast bounce those back into our deck, though? With a Teelan coming up. Speaking of a Teelan. Yeah, we spoke it into existence, unfortunately. The more cards we put on the board, the better our redraw is going to be. I don't necessarily like that. We're going to do this. We're just going to send it all back into our deck. We're going to send it all, and we're going to believe in the heart of the cards. We're going to channel our inner Yami Yugi so that we draw the resources we need. What's your opinion? What, in your opinion, was the purpose of introducing weekend and daily bundles? I think they're trying to find a way to make the card acquisition system seem a little bit more flexible for people that like want to invest a little bit, but not necessarily incredibly heavily. I mean, to make money, yeah, to make money but I think they're trying to introduce and find like the price point that's right for the most people, while still making money, of course, while still making money, so that you can acquire cards a little bit more easily. I have to believe in the positive. As Mr. Positivity, I have to believe in the positive side of it. I'm hoping that eventually they find a place that is like a good medium between people that want to spend money, people that don't, and that it just kind of, there's an equilibrium of a decent card acquisition system in the middle. Yeah, we have to have the heart of the cards guide us here. So we do have Falcon that we can do here, then pull it back up. The Real Mysterio over here doubles itself too. I think we're going to do the Real Mysterio on the right. We'll do Falcon in mid. Just got to 75, so going to be a rough grind. Hopefully it's a little bit easier than you anticipate. I would hope. Hopefully you're just building it up and you just kind of breeze past it. The extra 5 per tier that you get is nice in allowing some of that flexibility. And then Weo, you said I have anxiety. First time I reached 95 and keep bouncing between 94 and 96. See, that's where I end up playing the worst, is whenever I'm really concerned about my rank, because then I make or play differently than I normally do. So I may play a little bit too passively. On the flip side, I may play a little bit too aggressively in some scenarios. And so, like that middle range is definitely a scary place to be. Yeah, Shuri's Lab doubles the Real Mysterio too, but we played the Real Mysterio over here. So if we do, this will be 12 and 24, so that's an extra 36 that we get in this lane. We still don't beat them here. 36, 37, 38. We still don't beat them here. I think without that, we don't beat the Taskmaster, which I assume happens. Mr. Carey, I don't know the secret code or sauce for getting the giveaway cubes. I know some people change their name to like a few cubes. Like, please donate. Or I'm 99. Please donate. I've seen a couple of times. think this is the first Thanos. No, it's not the first Thanos. It's just Thanos hasn't felt as impactful. Oh no, you lost 20 cubes. What were you playing up against that you were losing to, Captain? It's your new personal best. Yeah. So I think from here it continues to get easier. And then once you hit infinite, so it's really weird. I've felt that kind of pressure whenever you get to like 98, 99, and I'll be losing a lot more often than I hit infinite and kind of don't have to have as much concern about it, and I find that I start winning more often. And so like it varies slightly, but it does still change your play pattern some. Could Warhead find a way into this deck? I think Warhead's a little bit too expensive. Because we're playing so many cards, we want to keep our curve incredibly low. That way we have the space to bounce the stuff we need. So I don't think it finds its way into this one. I think it's much more control-heavy decks that use like lane lockdowns, Daredevil to find the best use for Warhead. At least my gut impression or gut instinct of it would be that. So if we do this, it's going to pull back in. Demon will be 3, and then these 2, so that'll be 5. Negasonic Teenage Warhead. So they're stacking all in the left lane. That looks an awful lot like a Galactus deck, maybe? Unless maybe they're just really relying heavily on the Nexus itself. Do we try to steal initiative here? We'll have 4, 5, 6. So I think we just do this. We have a couple of extra energy. We could throw something else out. So maybe that. Most of my matches are against infinite players, and I've never been higher than 85. That'll change soon, Captain. And then Captain, you're playing a lot of Shuri decks. Yeah, running against Shuri decks, like that's one of the most common ones. So anytime I'm running a deck, my first thought is, can this hold up against Shuri? And if not, then it's not the right meta time for it. Especially if you're trying to climb. Yeah, that's why he filled to keep Lockjaw from sliding. So we also know that he's not going to change this with Reality Stone. I assume he's not changing it with Reality Stone. I calculated it. I calculated wrong. We need to fill up this lane, don't we? So if we did this, next turn we could do Hawk, Demon, Demon. Just use Shadow King? Shadow King's... ooh. So the leech. We got a little bit greedy holding, and the leech comes down. Sometimes they use the infinite card back. That's the only way I truly know to identify it, is the card back. So our greed costed us. I think maybe we hope, right? This is gonna be this is a decent amount of power here. He could have Killmonger, but I don't know if that does what they need. We're gonna see. We're gonna stick it out. They could also have a Kang and just trying to get us to retreat. Yeah, and so this one, he's running the infinite card back. Are you going back to the stream video VOD channel? Also, will there be a video today? Yeah, so there's going to be a video today, and I want to go back to the stream video on demand, so like uploading all of the Twitch stuff. But right now, they retreated, right? Are we stuck? I want to go back to uploading to the video on demand channel. Right now I have to extract and then upload, and that takes a long time. I'm looking to switch internets once they have the fiber finished and being installed. I'm looking to switch internets, and then I'll technically be dual streaming, but the one on YouTube will just be private until 24 hours has passed. That way I can get around the manual piece of it, and it'll be much easier to maintain. I think we just have to force close this one. Yeah, we have 2 bugs now. Can't you upload straight from the Twitch video producer? Can you really, Tyler? No, I'm not. So on the videos on demand, it's just like the raw footage. I didn't know you could do it from the video processor. Wait, did it count that one as a win? We'll see. But from the video producer. Yeah, you export it to YouTube? Really? I didn't know that. I'll try that out on today's or the last couple. After the stream ends, I'll launch that and see what I can do. Thank you for pointing that out, by the way. And then Gore, how goes the stream? Hope it's good. It started off really, really strong, and then we started losing a little bit. We're still positive for the day, but we switched decks. We had to switch over to bounce. So the Moon Zoo was doing very, very well for us earlier. We were getting 4 and 8 cubes, and then for whatever reason it just stopped. It just stopped being able to do that, and so we decided to switch what we were running for a little bit. And then FedUp, thank you so much for the Prime sub. That bumps us up to 10 for the day of the new Prime subs. We have a couple of resubs. I have to look into seeing if we can somehow get those counted in there. But very much appreciate the support. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I'm glad to have you here. I did reapply for partnership as well, so we didn't get instant rejected, so hopefully that's a good sign. And then hopefully we get some extra emotes soon for you guys to be able to utilize. Mr. Pimlico on the ladder, if you all see me first, bump me or something. Or if you all see me, fist bump me or something, I'll give you 8 cubes. That's awfully generous, Mr. Pimlico. And then Tyler, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub. Brings us up to 11 for the day. Very much appreciate the support. Huge support coming in today from you guys, from Revark, from the 5 gifted that came through. Just incredible. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Even if you're not able to like sub, or just being here to enjoy the content is plenty. No, I haven't got accepted yet. I just didn't get rejected. So the first time I submitted, I got rejected within, like, I want to say it was no more than 6 hours before I got an email saying that it was rejected. And so I think it's because I was fairly new. And then Squeejob, thank you so much for the Prime sub as well. That brings us to 12. Huge support. So the first time around, I got rejected like right away. And so this time, at least it's not that, like, the instant stamp of rejection. So I haven't got accepted yet. Hopefully I do, but it hasn't happened just yet. So we're going to use Bass. That way when we play Mysterio, at least it's going to be 3 in each lane. And then we'll see. Me frantically searching, you just hit 95. Tyler, hopefully you're able to pull it the rest of the way out. Today I tried the discard deck you provided with MODOK. Yes, so MODOK, I think that particular build is still very, very viable and very strong. It just consistently puts out such a high amount of stats and a high amount of points. I think it could be better to use the Silver Surfer one with Goose. I just reached level 85. I don't know the meta very well. It's the first time. Nice. Congratulations on 85, by the way. Isn't a partner a privilege? It is. So it's not guaranteed. Even if you hit the minimum requirements. And then Lord Bruh coming in with another 5 gifted, competing for Revark for number 1 on the leaderboard for the gifted this week. Thank you for bumping us up into the hype train, the 5 gifted. Huge support coming from you guys. I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. Watch out for Killmonger. So it could come down this turn. We're gonna the only upside that we get is that we're gonna send them nothing in return. But a Killmonger would be devastating for sure. Even a Shang-Chi at this point on the bishop would hurt. And then Lord Bro, thank you again for the 5 gifted. If you got one, make sure to give him a good old Uatu emote, or just tell him thanks. Yeah, this one does look like a counter Sarah with Hawk, but it oftentimes runs the Killmonger. But Mistray, Valkyrie's big. The Killmonger is big too. Oof. So they're sending us nothing. We're sending them nothing. So it comes down to like if they draw something better than we draw. I don't know. It's tough. I'm gonna go ahead and play Chavez in the left lane. A Shang-Chi here would drastically, if they top deck their Shang-Chi, it drastically destroys this lane. And then they win the power differential. Otherwise, I think we're probably okay. They do end up retreating. So it doesn't look like they got the card that they needed or the out that they needed. And then I got distracted again. Mistray. So I think probably as far as like being able to easily gauge when to stay and when to go, the discard deck is probably one of the better ones. Incredibly consistent. Had a lot of success with it. I think I had like a 73% win rate, and overall I think it ended at like a 60 something for the majority. Like 60 or high 50s. Oh wait, this isn't the one. This is the wrong one. Don't pay attention to that. This is the one. The one that runs Moon Knight. So Moon Knight is mainly going to be if you end up identifying that you're running against Shuri or Galactus, Moon Knight might be your Hail Mary play. Even if it's not ideal, even if you have MODOK, sometimes you throw Moon Knight and just hope for the best. And it's better than a guaranteed loss. I haven't played it into like a heavy Shuri meta, but I did have decent success against Shuris in general. I don't know which one would be better. So I ran Silver Surfer earlier, and we got 2 Crimson Cosmos lanes, and we just had an awful time running with the Silver Surfer. So I think MODOK is probably a little bit easier, maybe a little bit more consistent. But the Silver Surfer build does control the lanes and the board a little bit better. What is the new Zoo deck? The Moon Zoo? Is that what you're talking about? Cool. I changed the title since then, but the Moon Zoo, it's not necessarily new. It just, I thought it was completely dead. Turns out that it's still decent. And I ran it at the start of the stream for a little while, but it started off doing really well, and then it kind of sputtered out. I lost a couple times to Galactus. We kind of lost some steam, so we switched off of it. So they use Wave. They have initiative. If they go for Galactus here, then we're in a tough spot. We don't have anything that can get extra overtime. The Wave could just be an early like Electro ramp as well. But the problem I have with that is that we often get just about as much benefit. Oh no, it's a Thanos list. I'm curious what the new list is. Yeah, I can show you what it is. I just don't have it saved. I don't think I have it saved because I haven't edited the video yet. And then the Drunk, you said I was ranked 45 in February. I just reached 97 by cycling through multiple of your decks. No Shuri, no Thanos, no Galactus. Huge, the Drunk Detective. Congratulations, by the way. Hopefully you can finish that off. We have over a week left, and so I think you'll be able to get there. And then Revark, we'll load up the 1v1. And then you said this deck is fun. Goose is really strong right now. Yeah, Goose is really strong at disrupting like certain decks and what they want to do. I've been really enjoying the Goose tech in a lot of these decks. I think we do maybe this. I was just happy getting a free variant. Got a Pixel Forge. No Cosmo to the left? Okay. Then we can't So maybe we do it, maybe we hold it, and we do it later. I don't know how many people insta-retreat whenever I drop Goose. Yeah. So the issue becomes we don't have priority.
All systems go.
But you guys are right. We need the Cosmo to trigger. What is the last one we get? Juggernaut might be good for us. Brood. Brood's not terrible. We can do that. But I think they probably have a higher ceiling than we do in the left lane. So I think we'll probably lose this one. New emote from the hype train. Yeah, we got a few new emotes. It said that we've collected all of the level 1 emotes now. So we have a few of them that have come through from the hype train. And so we get some. These are all the hype train ones. Right? Those are all the ones that come from the hypes. So they're going to a Lockjaw rotation. So it's possible that they get bad flips both times. Hopefully. We can hope. We can hope that their RNG casino does not pay off for them. Chavez. No, I don't think we can beat that with the 5 power wave. Not quite. Not quite. Almost. But we didn't quite make it. I feel like people are better at anticipating Cosmo than Goose currently, since Goose was used day 1. A lot seem to forget about the cat. Yeah, and he's never, Goose has never been like just prominent in the meta. But with how heavily Shuri leans on those like high cost plays, you get a lot of restriction and it's a lot of disruption that you don't always realize how much or how awkward it makes your opponent's play line. And so Revark, you redeemed the 1v1, right? Those are your hype train ones? Oh, nice. So depending on if you're live for the hype train, you get different emotes. It's awesome. When Cerebro 3 storms a lane and Goose another, yeah, it's can be devastating with Goose. I love Goose and Cerebro too. What still works? Oh, the Moonzu? Yeah, it works decently. I started the stream with like a 67-ish% win rate. From there, we did drop a little bit. I don't know if it's more so my playing or I don't know if it's necessarily like my playing or like being a little bit distracted or what, but we dropped closer to like mid 50s. What does Quinjet do? Quinjet helps reduce your She-Hulk to 0, and sometimes it allows like a double Shang-Chi. You can do Arrow a little bit cheaper if you ended up doubling down on it. It doesn't hit your Titania or your Demon anymore, unfortunately. And then Neck, welcome in. Hopefully you're having a great day. So I also tried out, instead of Quinjet, I had Maria Hill. She just was kind of okay. She was a little bit lackluster for the most part in it. Excited about the future Spider People cards for more variety in move decks. Yeah, I think it'd be nice. Quinjet allows us to use Master Mold Sentinels for 1 cost. Wow. I mean, we have to fire back now, right? The game pretty much told us we had to. Is Quinjet still viable? I don't think Quinjet is as core in the list, but it can be decently useful sometimes. And that's the one that originally I didn't. I had Maria Hill. So I got put a couple of times. I've gotten some decent 1-cost cards. Yeah, Maria Hill definitely doesn't feel like one that has to be in it, but it can help you make sure that you fill out the board where possible. I like the possible ability for Silk. Move that card if your opponent played. Yeah. Got 1 cubers 5 times in a row. How close were you to infinite? You're getting close, right, Weo? Do you have any Rainbow Kirby Crackle cards? I do. I have a handful. So I have a Daredevil. It's black and white. I have a gold Bishop. I have a gold Jubilee. And I think I may have a couple other Crackles, but those are like the ones that I use and I like the most. Yeah, and the Moon Girl double is not something that we always hit. And so a lot of times we can control where the Sentinel is to make sure that our She-Hulk gets hit if that's the line that we're going with. And so I haven't had much of an issue with like the Sentinel. It just helps fill out the board so that you get like the stats. If you play Sentinel 3 times across the game is pretty big and can be pretty devastating. What do you think about Zero being unfair? Only 1/3 with actual no downside? I mean, it has downside. You can't necessarily tempo it out early in some decks. I think Shuri and really supporting like the ongoing and the negative card side makes it feel unfair. But I think in most decks, you typically want your abilities for that 2 cost. So like Scorpion. I mean, Lizard would be okay, but like Scorpion, Master Mold, a lot of the 2 costs, you generally want to have that ability intact. They change it after a small update. Mine looks worse. What is it? Oh, the Rainbow Crackles. Oh, I haven't checked it. So they're stuck here. And then Soyo, thank you so much for the Prime sub. It bumps us up to 18 for the day. Huge support from you guys. I appreciate it. Hopefully you're having a fantastic day so far. So we can expect a Ronin, right? Or a Ronin in one of the lanes, right? I think we maybe do that. Either that or we move Vision. Actually, She-Hulk seems like it's a lot to invest there. We don't necessarily need that. We can do Sentinel, She-Hulk, Titania. Streamer, do you do deck reviews? Not consistently, so I don't have like a good rating scale, but I can take a look at a snap.fan link if you send it this way. Yeah, and so it's kind of like Blade. Zero is kind of like Blade in that if you have the hand for him, it's fine. But what kind of... No, you're fine. Snap.fan links are okay. But I'm not sure what kind of snap.fan link that was. I've never seen the asset at the start of it. But regular snap.fan deck links do work. For 5,000 channel points, you can force him to do a deck review. I mean, we could throw it on a channel point redemption for it. Oh, and then Baki, you have 8.6 thousand channel points. Seems like sounds like we need to do some gambling so that you can either double up or run out real quick. And then No Pain, No Games. Thank you so much for the follow. Hopefully you're having a fantastic day so far. Can I try to build a Valkyrie deck? Valkyrie is one of those that is very, very meta dependent. So if you're seeing ongoing, Valkyrie loses a lot of that potency. And if Valkyrie ever becomes super common, like the downside is the meta can shift pretty easily to be able to counter it. So Valkyrie a lot of times is best as like a surprise. And I haven't found a good way to consistently do that. How do you get channel points? Just by being here and watching the stream. You passively get channel points. But down by the chat bar, there's a little number that should show the points that you currently have. Yeah, subbed is like what, 1.2 times the rate? I had things. Infinite snapping. Yeah, we're doing some infinite snapping. Had to pull up on the stream. You're dope, man. Thank you so much, Goss. Is that how you say it, Goss? Thank you so much. I'm glad that you're enjoying the content, and that you enjoy the vibes that we put out as well. So let me see if I can do that without the assets. I'm not sure what it's doing there, or if you're like maybe copying the picture of it. And so is it Good Stuff Wave? Is that the one? Ghost? Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. So I'll pronounce it Ghost. So we can skip Soak. We can do She-Hulk. I mean, they are running. We know that they have a debris, but I think if we Soak with our Sunspot, we should hopefully be okay. How have the games been? Tensive, it blocked your message for. Oh no, I didn't want that as an added term. Whoops, I just wanted to allow that one message. All right, so I know you meant to say how. So I allowed the message to come through. The games have been okay. They started off really good, and then it kind of simmered out. But no, you're fine. You're fine, Tensive. It like flagged it, and I allowed it, but I didn't realize it made it okay for that word moving forward to be said. So we could do this, but it doesn't win us in the left lane, which I think is our issue. We could do She-Hulk to the left. We do have Sentinel already over the right. And then maybe we do left and then Soak. No, you're okay, Tensive. They're close together. I understand how the mistake could be made. I was wondering why it was censored for me. I think I played you on the weekend with my decked out Lockjaw deck. I boomer snapped on 6, but I think you stayed in for fun. I might have. I played a few, and depending on what I was testing out, sometimes I stayed just if I wanted to see see how it turned out. The Leech Sandman deck helped you to hit Infinite last week. That's so good. That's huge. Some people have said it was really good for them, and then others said it didn't really help them all that much. So I'm glad that it helped you out. And then for Yoda, is it the Good Stuff Wave? Is that the one that that's the one that you're wanting to share, right? We lose by 1 in the right lane. The Scorpion value was huge. Yeah, that one was very much a Scorpion win. The 0 and 5 Infinite on 6 works. It doesn't. Unfortunately, it doesn't, because it doesn't. 0 doesn't cancel out the card's abilities until they're played, and so you still have to meet the Infinite's requirements first. And then Teo, welcome in. Hopefully you're having a great day so far. And so for the Good Stuff Wave, looking at it, the Wave Doctor Doom She-Hulk is always a really good kind of package deal. The White Queen, pretty decent at getting information. I guess the Shuri into Vision is your like alternate game plan for your wave. The only thing that I might see as a downside for like looking at the deck just off of my first impression is that the Shuri and Wave kind of can contradict each other, or they can kind of they add strife to each other, because Wave in this list looks like it wants to be ran on 5, and so then Shuri, it would be like an either or. Not that it would necessarily be a big issue that I know of, but like I think there's some games where they might clash. Otherwise, I think it's all really good value cards. Has a really good curve. So the 1/1 cost might be I can't help but feel like without Killmonger in the list, you might want a Sunspot somewhere, but I don't know what we would cut. Especially if you're floating with the She-Hulk. Then again, it may not be that big if you're just curving into all your good cards. So overall, I think it looks solid. The 4-cost slot might become an issue if you're doing the wave on 5, but otherwise, I think you're putting value on the board and outpacing your opponent just about every turn of the game. And then Wasted Fox, she said, "Oops, sorry, forgot to follow. New here." No worries. I'm glad that you found the stream and that you're enjoying it. Thank you for the follow, by the way, Wasted Fox. Ooh, so the Baron Mordo and the Viper were capped out in the left lane. Nothing can be played in Plunder Castle either, because it's going to be reduced. Hi from Germany, how are you? I'm doing well. Krasnik? I'm doing very well. Hopefully you're doing well as well. Which deck should I use? I'm sitting on collection level 2100. Oh, you're at rank 92? This will be your first time to reach infinite. So what has been working for you so far? Because I would say whatever got you up to 92 has been doing decently for you. And so is it not necessarily doing as well now, so you're looking for a change? Around that level, depending on what pull 3 cards you've gotten, Dino is always a solid one if you haven't gotten like the big heavy hitters. Dino, maybe a potential discard deck, and a Serra Tech deck is always decent depending on what resources you have available. Why did we not Sunspot into the cloning vats? I'm choking this game against Revark. I don't have a Hawk. What's a good Serra combo? So the traditional one that runs like Killmonger, some tech heavy cards. I think I have it. I don't know if I have it built on this account. I was doing some testing on my alternate account to try and build some Serra combo stuff. The Serra Surfer is good. If you're not looking for like the Serra like counter heavy stuff, Serra Surfer is really strong. If you're looking for the ones that run like Shang-Chi, potentially Enchantress, Killmonger, like those tech heavy, Serra Surfer may even fall into that, because you can run Shang-Chi in a Serra Surfer deck as well. Is this Cerebro 2? Nope. It's just he had a lot of Icemen. He's running, so we're running against Revark. He used the Channel Point Redemption. He has a Master Mold deck. So it's a Beast, Master Mold, Baron Mordo, Ronin, and we're getting absolutely slaughtered. We're getting absolutely demolished with it so far. Our Titania has been hit twice, Maximus once. Our curve is abysmal. But yeah, Dracula trying to run a discard deck without Dracula is really, really tough. Titania as a 3/4 seems not very good. Yep, I would agree, Mr. Salmonella. Definitely doesn't feel very viable at all. So this would give us 6. We'd be 8 here. Yeah, we could try to cap out their right. I think we're okay. As long as they don't have a way to buff this one up, which we don't know. We haven't seen anything so far from him. He could have like a a Blue Marvel hidden somewhere in there. Or maybe even a Mr. Fantastic. Your negative Surfer got me through the early 60s and 70s. That's huge. It's not quite as strong as it used to be. Like, it can still hold its own, but it's not anywhere near as impactful as it was. Yeah, unhip. That looks like the standard Serra counter deck that I've seen before. Wait, what did they snap on? We have the left lane locked. We have the right lane. Do they have a way to buff up this left lane? There's only 2 cards in his deck that I haven't seen. This could be one of them. Did we risk it? Did he build in... So the list of cards we've seen so far, the untapped tracker, actually keeps track in battle mode of the cards you've seen. So we've seen Hood, Iceman, Beast, Master Mold, Scorpion, Baron Mordo, Viper, Debris, Maximus, Ronin. And there's 2 mystery cards we haven't seen. Could be a Kang Snap, yeah. Oh, the Hazmat and Luke Cage. For the 2 we haven't seen. I think you're right. Do we, but if it's a bluff? I feel like we have to stay. But he has a couple of outs. We're gonna do it. So one of the, oh, okay, well. He had the Marvel. I'm calling him Marvel as a mystery card. Yep, he had the Marvel. Just for using Spectrum now gets me back to early days of the game. Yep, I tried a Spectrum deck earlier and it didn't do terrible. It's just, it doesn't quite compete anymore like it used to. What were we running before? This is one of the Khazar Zoo builds that I was testing out. It's like it has a bounce variant to it. And so you can use the Falcon to pull back in your 1-cost cards to hit them again for your Bishop. Otherwise, you're prioritizing flooding the board and then leaning in on like Khazar and Blue Marvel. And Revarg, you top deck that Marvel that? Oh, we hadn't seen it up until that point. I was talking with Chad about it. We either put it on a Blue Marvel or a Luke Cage and a Hazmat. But I felt like I had to stay and see it. We had to check it out. And so let's do a little bit more bounce. I love the title of your YouTube video of Kazu. I couldn't think of anything that didn't feel like I had already done before, and so I was like, we'll do something silly. And so I chuckled about it. I told my wife. She didn't seem to get as much joy out of it as I did, but I enjoyed it. I'm glad that you guys did as well. Yeah, the Spectrum, with only being 5 power, doesn't seem like it holds its own against some of the crazy stuff we have in the game now. I consider running Luke Cage and Hazmat, but it's not very good, and I don't like to play it on it, and I don't like the play on it very much. Yeah, it usually makes your turn 6 overall relatively unimpactful, unless you happen to have 2 lanes clogged. Then you can guarantee what happens for your opponent, but most of the time. Still rocking the amazing title. So right now it's the one that was chosen before. It's a bit smelly, but otherwise fine. And so whichever one the last one that was chosen in stream. Yeah, speaking of Luke Cage, we have the Luke Cage himself. I think we Iceman and then Beast bounce him back into our hand. Yeah, we definitely jinxed it. I assumed Marvel over Hazmat because the likelihood that both cards you haven't seen. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but if he didn't have both of them, it might be that he just held it for that surprise factor. But yeah, I think Blue Marvel makes a lot more sense though. And then Megaria Mick. Thank you for this. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the sub, Mick. Thank you for the Prime sub. It brings us up to 19 for the day. Huge support. Very much appreciate it. Hopefully you're having a fantastic day so far. Spectrum is fine if you have 3 hits for ongoing it. Does well. If you have more, it is above curve. Yeah, so it's a build around. It's definitely a build around, but so in terms of like the power level of like a Shuri, or the power level of like even a Moon Zoo being able to flood all of that power on the board, like it's on curve, yeah, but it just doesn't hold its own as often. So it definitely drops into the lower win rate category. It's Brazilian, so don't even need to try. I appreciate it, Mick. I wanted to try, but I knew I was gonna butcher it. I think we do our Hawk a turn early, and then we can do Chavez on the last turn. You're celebrating Rebark. You're celebrating your win with some garlic. I haven't tried shrimp pakora, but like I haven't tried spicy goat masala either. I've tried chicken, the chicken and the garlic naan from it's from a place nearby that I live near, and it's amazing. I haven't tried I tried goat chops or goat steaks. I think they called them goat chops. Those were pretty good, very very tender. But I haven't tried it like inside of anything yet. Sarah means he can't. Shang-Chi the Hawk. Yep, that is very true. That means this lane is really tough for them to win. It also means that, I don't know why the loot cage though. It's probably a Silver Surfer, but I don't know why the loot cage. It's Hazmat. That does it for him, right? We win mid, but we lose left and right. Yeah, garlic naan and like they had this really spicy curry that, like, I like spicy things, and I had to do it in like 2 or 3 bites at a time, and then had to like eat some naan to be able to like keep the heat level down in my mouth. You think Hawk needs a nerf? Oh, he needs a nerf. I thought you were saying he needed a buff. I was like, ooh, he definitely doesn't need a nerf. After the Shuri and Hawk nerf, we should be good. See, but then we have new cards coming out, so I think Hawk stays moderately mid-range. So it's good, but not so good that it breaks the game and feels terrible to play against. Shuri is one of those that it's become so popular that the sentiment around it is really negative. I think we see Kitty Pryde and Hitmonkey on the chopping blocks before we see Hawk again. I could be wrong, but I think the sentiment for those 2 cards is going to be a little bit worse once it really gets up in the swing, especially Hitmonkey. I think we see some decks that we haven't seen for a while just really take off and get popularized. The place I use has 6 levels of spice. I can only go midway through, even though I'm a chili head. Yeah, and I was like, yeah, we can do the full spicy. The first time I went in was the wrong call. Was absolutely not the right call to make. But I thought I like hot things. We can absolutely handle this. No, we cannot. So we can do Falcon, Demon. But if we do Falcon over here, we want it to pull cards in. Maybe we do it like that. The Demon will still be here. The Falcon will be here. Wait. That doesn't hit the hood. Okay, so we're going to do just Demon and Falcon. We're going to forego the Bass this turn. Since we're getting new move cards soonish, what archetype would you like to see get new cards? What is soonish, the Drunk Detective? I know some stuff has been leaked, but I don't know any timeline for it. Do you feel like Negasonic or Master Mold are worth it? Not really, not in their current state. I think they will see more play once they're more accessible. But finding that right build that feels optimal, I don't think they're an easy build around card that can just like slot into anything. And so I don't think right now they're worth it. I think there may be like 1 or 2 decks that surface that are good for either one, but I don't think it's broken to the level of 6,000 tokens. I think Beast is next up on the discount to 0 is broken slate for nerfs. If Bounce kind of explodes like I think it's going to with the cards that they're releasing, it very well could. I think we're going to hold the hood. That way it can go from -2 to... So it's a 5-point swing. And he said, Valis, I just don't feel like Hawk is in a state that dictates the game. Yeah, in a way that it requires a nerf. Yeah, it's strong. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's strong. It can win games. But I don't think it's to the point where it just feels like you can't play anything else but that card. Or like you can't play around it either. But yeah, I think Negasonic is probably a little bit more flexible than Master Mold. Master Mold, I think, is a little easier to build. But Negasonic has some cool use cases. And then Fazzer Snap, welcome in. Hopefully you're having a great day so far. How much longer do you think you'll be streaming today? Another, probably only another like 20 minutes or so. I'll have to get off to finish up the work that I've been putting off, and then I'll have to go pick up my daughter. Are you bored of playing against Shuri? I mean, it's the same thing I think it's the same thing as when Thanos was primary. Like, you play around it, you know that it's coming, and so that gives you a little bit of like it's not going to be surprising anytime it gets dropped. So this is going to be 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 power in this lane. So we can overpower them in Fisk Tower unless they do something to pull our card over. And so maybe we do... It's also a pretty big lane though. Did they play anything last turn, or was it this, or did they skip? If they skipped, this is going to be a scary turn for them. They probably win. Figuring out what order I place these in. I think we need to lean in on the left lane some. The smile you get when you talk about kid stuff shows how much you care. Yeah, oh no. The Polaris. Okay, the Polaris, I thought it was Arrow and I misordered it. We do end up losing this one, don't we? The Korg gets blocked by the Cosmo. Yeah. It's not quite going to be enough. But no, I really enjoyed my daughter. And she's learning and growing so fast. So she has this little wagon that came with blocks in it that we now use as our little mine cart. And so we drift around the house in it. My wife doesn't like it, but she enjoys it, and I enjoy doing it too. How old? She just turned 2 a couple of weeks ago. I feel/hope she gets better. I just have them rotating in my shop. And I'm not going to get Sentry, Shadow, Dazzler. Yeah, I don't think any of those are necessarily that big either. And then Lord Bra, you said change my card back. So I think I'm going to run, for the last few, I think we're going to do like a good card stature list for a little bit. So we'll let you choose the Black Panther. All right, we'll absolutely set it as Black Panther. And then we'll see how it goes. I have a 16-month-old. Just caught her a Power Wheels with remote control. Yeah, so she has one. It doesn't have the parent control, but she steers it. I don't know. She picked it up like immediately, and so she loves running that thing, driving that thing around the yard and around the neighborhood. The more the wife doesn't like it, the funnier it is. Yeah, that's fair. That's very fair, Revark. All right, so 64% win rate. 0.68 cube gain with trash Thanos deck. I think I found a deck I should learn more. So is it like a junk Thanos Ook? If so, will you send us the snap.fam? What do you think of the Shuri nerf suggestion where it only doubles the power of the card if you play it in the same lane? I think that very easily starts doing what we need it to do. So if they do nerf Shuri like that, where it only doubles the power if it's played in that same lane, you can counter it a lot more easily. So you can more predictably drop a Shang-Chi, a Cosmo to counter it. It also stops you from being able to play your big card behind Cosmo as well. Will the link to my deck suffice? Yeah, absolutely. Wow, so 41 games for that 63% win rate is big. Oh, and it has Valkyrie too? I'll try it. I'll try it I'll try it tonight to see how it goes. So in the pipeline, we do have our Doctor Doom discarded from Moon Knight. What did they end up discarding? They're Nimrod. They're a Galactus build. I think maybe we She-Hulk to the right. They won't be able to do Galactus into Morag at any point. So maybe we just skip here instead. That way we don't get... Oh no, we're going to have initiative regardless. I'm still going to skip. Agatha Junk Thanos? Agatha Junk Thanos to infinite. Easy peasy. No, this one is... so it's like kind of like a clog. It has the Hood, Titania, Viper, Green Goblin, Polaris, and then the tail end of it is like the control heavy, the Spider-Man, Professor X, Valkyrie, Spider-Woman, Blue Marvel. So it does have some pretty big play around potential. So if we... I almost think we skip again. They have initiative. We're going to see what they play here. They haven't snapped, so I don't know how confident they are in it. Yeah, Spider-Man potential. The Hobgoblin was a potential play too. Does this beat it though? I don't know that it does. But they didn't snap, so we're going to find out. So it's only 9 power from that. I still don't think we have enough. Not quite. But we lose by 1. The Death Null. Oof. And then Cole, you said no Moon Girl. So no Moon Girl in this list. Moon Girl a lot of times gets a little bit greedy with stature. I feel like if you can find a way to run it well, doubling down on stature is huge. But it just doesn't feel like it's that consistency piece that we would want. This is why you do not play Lizard. It was also against Galactus, and we had counterplays built in. We just didn't have it in time. I think it's fine. Lizard a lot of times is really good value. The reason I advocate for Lizard is because at 2/5, even if eventually it goes down to a 2/2, that 2/5 could give you initiative so that you could play your discard cards, you could play your counter cards, you can get those off more easily. To be able to help swing the lane whenever it's impactful. And then later on, if it becomes 2/2, as long as you use those turns where you're ahead more efficiently, you should be okay. I'll advocate for it. I'll advocate for Lizard. It took me a while to figure out the strength though. Valkyrie is the main ingredients. It counters Shuri, minions behind armor, and nobody expects her. Yeah. It's also good into Galactus to some extent. Yeah. Yeah, especially if we're not in a... I think when Valkyrie's not necessarily telegraphed, that's where her big strength comes from. I hope you don't pull Sentry. Yeah. Yeah, you definitely don't want to pull Sentry. Maybe we can discard it. If we pull it in this right lane, then it's going to be 0 power for 2 card slots. Is this the only deck that is good with Stature and Ghost Rider? I don't know. I think there's definitely some further experimentation that would maybe be warranted, but... So if the right lane is full, it doesn't spawn the Void. But if it pulls into the right lane, then they're both over here. I wonder if someone runs a Sentry Viper deck. I have. I covered one. I think it's been about a month ago. Detective. Oh, so we discard Sentry. So we no longer have to worry about that in Grand Central. Dodged a bullet there. And so I am gonna. My son just got home, so we were gonna go let him in real fast because we have it locked. So we'll let him in real fast. So did good things happen or did bad things happen? We discarded the rocket, right? Not great. Black Bolt didn't hit anything huge. Well, we pulled into arrow, so that's fine. Good things? They played something here and rotated into... Oh no, TLSU's camera got leached. It also, every once in a while, gets Uatu'd. Just, he's just there staring. So we have Captain Marvel, which is pretty decent. We discarded Sentry. So do we just float with the Sunspot? We could play Sentry to the right, float with the Sunspot in mid for 5. Captain Marvel maybe moves over to the left. We could, oh yeah, Doom mid is better, right? I think actually Doom, one of the other lanes is better. I don't think we want to rotate. All we have a Widow's Bite, we have Scorpion Wave and Ghost Rider left in our deck. So I think to the right is a little bit better. Yeah, the rotate would, I don't think it would do it for us. Ooh, they rotate into a bad resource in mid. It does hurt our lizard. So for those anti-lizard lovers, you get your use case here. She goes over to the left lane to win us 1. Wow, not even win us 1. Well, maybe this isn't a good card. Maybe this isn't a good card one. We could run the Master Mold one for a couple of games before we wind down and look for a raid. Shave your head for the new cosplay, the Uatu. I don't think I could pull that off. They need to fix Captain Marvel. So she functioned how she's supposed to. Both of those cards have after the game end effects. And so it just comes down to which one triggers first. And so it's just confusing to understand. Or not necessarily confusing to understand, but like there's a lot of intricacies to how it's coded. And it, like I wouldn't expect anybody to know those just looking at the card. Did you watch What If? I did. I really enjoyed What If. I didn't much care for the art style whenever I first, like on the first episode, but towards the season finale, I was fully committed, fully gripped in. Captain Marvel working proves that Agatha and Ego just hate us. I mean, whenever you think about it, they programmed bots that are highly competitive, hard to play against. They could use the same. They could use the same logic in Agatha. But no, Ego and Agatha just dislike us. Lord Bro, you headed out? Okay. Hopefully you have a great rest of your day. Thank you for hanging out for a while. Hopefully the rest of your Monday goes well. I think they did Uatu dirty. Uatu is the most powerful being, but they made him a 1-cost card. So he's the most powerful, but he's supposed to just be a watcher. He's not supposed to be able to intervene. I do like the idea of always being able to use his effect, whether he's in your hand or not, because he's always there. He's watching. I think having him added, if you're just able to see all the locations, you get that guaranteed. And so I think he'd be played and utilized a little bit more than he is now. Marvel is the only last card. Is only the last turn and only focus on. Marvel is only the last turn and only focus on basic maths? I mean, it functions. It looks at Fisk Tower. It looks at all of the changes. What it can't calculate is looking at like if the real Mysterio is here, or if Dracula. So it doesn't look at those unknowns yet. So they probably Professor X lock this left lane. I would think. Cosmic, welcome in. Hopefully you're having a great day so far. Yeah, so even if you can kind of anticipate or beyond a reasonable doubt know what the outcome is going to pull into, Captain Marvel just takes stuff at face value. I wouldn't necessarily say it's basic math, but like she'll take into account like Jotunheim reducing the power and all of those things, just not the unknowns. The beard is gone, yeah. We sacrificed the beard. We did, we killed it. We killed the beard. The beard is no more. Is this a bot? Yeah, play order can mess her up too. Rest of the day it's 23:13. I'm going to sleep. I hope you have a great rest of your night, Lord Bro. Hopefully you sleep well. And then Axum, you said he's the most powerful if he did anything other than basically be chat. Oh, like if he didn't do anything other than just kind of like watch. Can we beat Galactus mid? I don't know. It's 14. I mean, yeah. So 14 power here brings to a positive 10. How's the stream so far? The stream's been good. We started climbing really well, and then it kind of sputtered out, and we haven't climbed as successfully. But it has been going very, very well. Can we get a 3-hour stream of you talking to ChatGPT? I mean, ChatGPT is so mesmerizing. I think we have to play it the same way. Like they could play around it now that they know that that's what's happening. But I think that's our only way to win. Unless we don't think Galactus is going to happen, and then we just play the Hawk over here. What's your opinion of pure random cards like Morph? More of them or just for memes? So I think the pure random cards, it depends on how pure random. So something like Agent Coulson, and this wouldn't have been my stance on it like 3 months ago, but something like Agent Coulson can provide a consistent amount of value. So you know you're going to have that curve potential, and so it really limits the amount of randomness that goes into it. Whereas something like Morph, you can use it towards the last turn, but you could just grab a rock. I like using Morph from time to time, but I don't think it's incredibly competitive. And so especially if you're releasing it for 6,000, I think there's a lot of drawback to releasing a pure random card at a 6,000 token price point. Maybe Ego is just ChatGPT playing Marvel Snap. I tried to have ChatGPT create a Marvel Snap deck for me. I think it was trying to create a lineup from another Marvel game because it was not a playable one. I think it had like some future cards like War Machine and things like that, but was not going to be a good deck. And I'm always going to stick to my guns and think Wadu should work from hand or deck. I agree, Revark, because he's a watcher. Like he's there. So you should be able to get that information, I think. ChatGPT is terrible at games. Yep, that is true. Yeah, it doesn't know about Snap. I tried as well. Unfortunately, it doesn't. Yep, it is good at generating backstories. So Rumble, I use it to generate various lies about where my name originates from, where the TLSG originates from, and so it is pretty good. It is pretty good at generating those backstories. Make a Cerebro Zero deck. I mean, we've seen Cerebro Zero win before. It can happen. Probably not well, but it can happen. You just opened the Uatu variant in the season pass? Barricade, we're always watching. We are always watching. We don't always intervene, but we're watching for sure. Bard gave me a Galactus deck with a written strategy on how to use it. Did it really? Like it generated a cohesive deck? Yeah, it looks great. Oh, you have to join a waitlist? All right. I can't use it to create my content from now on. We tried. I played rock paper rock scissors with ChatGPT, and it told me its selection, and then I said mine. Why ask why I was winning 100% of the time? It said the sample size was too small. I could see that. Wait, it only gave you 8 cards? Not gonna lie, if I could run a full art germ deck, I would. I'm a simple man. All of the art germs are incredibly. They all look very, very sleek. So the odds of us winning this one are 0. We're gonna retreat out. It hasn't been our afternoon. We are gonna wind down. I'm gonna go ahead and finish up a couple work things. Yeah. The peach ones as well are really, really solid. I'm gonna finish up a couple work things before I go pick up my daughter. But let's find somebody to raid over into for you guys. Is there anyone live that you guys are eyeballing that you think would be good to send you over to? We have Educated Collins, who has a massive 653 viewers. It's good to see his are popping off. And then a lot of these I haven't checked out before. We have one for Collins, one for Dexter. I rated Dexter, I think it was his Friday. Collins is too slow for my taste. I play pretty slowly too. So so I mean, yeah. Or does he just like overly does he play slower than I do? I thought I was probably the slowest like Marvel Snap player. Collins videos at 2 times speed are great. That's how I edit mine. I turned mine on 2 times speed. Someone said that Eggs was doing a subathon. Are they live though? Oh, she's currently picking up her kid from school. So it's not, yeah, okay. That's why I didn't see her stream. So I guess the only ones that are live that I've seen are Dexter and Collins now. She's live but not listed as Snap. Gotcha. And I don't want to send you guys to an empty room. So, would you guys rather Dexter or Collins? Oh, you talk though? Gotcha. Okay. I also climb down the ladder pretty consistently. So I think it's because I talk so much. Send over to Dexter. All right. We'll hit Dexter with another raid. Look at Eggs is at 160 while she's in just chatting while picking up her kid from school. Repping the 160 people that are still hanging out for. We'll go ahead and raid over into Dexter. Make sure to give him a good old Uatu avatar if you're a sub. Thank you guys for the fantastic stream. We're gonna go ahead and send you guys over there. We will have a video that goes up a little bit later tonight, and then tomorrow we will be in the Kitty Pride waiting room. And so hopefully you guys have a fantastic rest of your Monday, and we will catch you guys either in tonight's video or tomorrow's stream. Thank you guys again. As always, this has been TLSG. Later.